Hey, gods and goddesses, let's talk about the moon signs and what it reveals about you and about your personality. Check for your moon sign in the moon placement. The moon plays a huge part in what we perceive in this reality and the things that we witness and the things that we, because the moon is what we see, it's our senses, what we witness, what we're picking up on. In tarot, the moon is ruled by Pisces, which is based off illusions, lies and deceit, not seeing things clearly. And a lot of people associate with the moon in that way because the moon, it really comes to us as these unresolved emotions, unresolved traumas, because the moon rules over the fourth house of Cancer. And Cancer is a sign of family. It's a sign of the mother, it's a sign of birth, emotions, the feminine. And our feminine energy is our emotions, what we stand for is our instincts, is our unconscious mind. And really, as the moon represents our instinctive actions and reactions as well. And, some people, well, we don't outwardly express our moon sign all the time. This is what we express mostly in our close relationships, because if we did express our moon sign and all its attributes, negative and positive, we would be considered and seen as, unstable, um, in some ways like animalistic as well, because our moon sign is really what moves us, and whatever moves you is what, you react to, and the moon is your reactions. So the moon is this unconscious force that represents how you react to the things, and honestly, not how you react, but how much time you give yourself to react, right? And the moon is really like our fantasies and daydreams, kind of like Pisces in a way. It's our daydreams. It's our inner core, it's what we imagine ourselves, what we find ourselves daydreaming about, what we really internally want on the inside, but seems as though it's too much sometimes, right? Depending on your sign. And so the moon requires emotional stimulation all the time, and in what ways well, the moon is going to stimulate you all the time because we have the moon out, in our reality, and it moves cycles every single, like 2 days, it moves signs, 2.5 days, it moves signs. So the moon is constantly moving with the waves and the tides, and as are we. So we're constantly moving with these things, right? And the moon represents fantasies as well. We're able to have visions and daydreams, and it's like the moon is really associated with our dreams. The dream world, it's that unconscious world, but that can be made conscious, and it's made conscious through your reactions. It's like through your emotional intelligence and how you're able to process the little, like the little sensual parts of life, is how your moon sign is displayed. And sometimes, the moon is our reaction in a way. Well, not in a way, it is definitely our reaction, but it's almost like, how long do you take to react? What do you do when you're reacting? Do you react? And it's also our relationship with the mother and our relationship with women in general. And it's so important for us to, like, especially if you have a moon in Cancer, you have the moon in its right sign. It's really important for you to see how you treat your mother, right? And the moon sign is really how this person was treated as a child and the relationship to the mother. And the moon is our hearing. It is our taste, our sense, it's our touch. And it brings up a lot of, well, let's just say Cancer, the sign that rules over, it brings up a lot of memory and a lot of nostalgic moments about the childhood. That is what the moon sign does. And that is why when the moon is full, it's we're always thinking about the past memories, and especially the ones that are emotionally draining, or that we felt emotionally, coming into this reality, because the fourth house is what we feel in our childhood and how we develop on that. And if there's unresolved emotional trauma, this is how we develop in that way. And as we grow older and we go through our lunar returns and things of that nature, we have times to alleviate these past experiences and understanding ourselves and the reason why we came here, and understanding our emotions, because our emotions are what we see, we pick up on. As we're sitting in our houses, sitting in our realities, we're constantly picking up on energies, and we're making attitudes out of it. We're making decisions out of it. We're making choices. And it all stems from, how emotionally stable you are and how you're able to just be honest with yourself. And be honest with yourself about your emotions. You have to know yourself and you have to know your emotions. And so the moon represents our inner psyche, and it represents, our memories. Yeah, like I said, the past. And it's really expressing your dreams. I'm not sure if you ever had a dream about your subconscious fears. That is based off of the moon cycles. You know what I'm saying? You are not processing these emotions, and they show up in ways in your reactions. And so the moon is really, it really plays a part in our daily activity. Like, honestly, the moon changes, like I told you, every 2 days, every couple of days, 2.5 days to be exact. And as the moon changes signs, feelings change, moods change, people change, and they shift. And knowing that these things are, as the moon changes, these things are never like um concrete. It's always temporary, because cycles are always moving. The moon is always moving, and so is the ocean. It's always tiding and turning. There's always, waves to get through. It's always waves to get through. Like, you can always get through something. It is not permanent what is happening or how you are feeling. And so the moon, it really influenced our receptibility to others. As I said, when we're sitting next to them, it's almost like we're picking up on how they feel, and we're not understanding that it plays a part in how we feel and how others feel about us. It's almost like, sitting next to someone, you can tell if they don't like you or not. Like, your intuition is activated, because the moon is our intuition. No matter what sign it's in, the moon in its sign, in any sign, has a great intuition, right? It's able to use its intuition in the way that the sign vibrates, it to be expressed in this world. But in Cancer, naturally, um we are um able to pick up on energies around us, of not people who don't like us, but more so like, is this the right place for you to be right now? And sometimes the answer is no, sometimes the answer is yes, but it's about listening to that inner voice that talks to you on a daily day basis. And the moon is extremely important, like I said, for love and relationships. Any relationships, especially to women, building up those relationships. And even your moon sign can tell if you have a good relationship with your mother or not. Every sign tells a whole story. Every point in your part tells a really grand story, in my opinion. And it does factor into your relationships and long lasting bonds. So definitely always, pay attention to your relations to your mother, or pay attention to your relationship to other people, because your emotions really depend on it. Your emotional capabilities really depend on these types of things, right? Meaning that it's all built off of how you can, come to terms with your emotional body, and to be able to process things in ways that it doesn't hold domination over your, emotional sphere. That you hold domination over your emotional sphere, because you're able to process them when you feel them coming up. But these things are tricky. As I said, our emotions are not, you know, something concrete, is constantly changing, right? And so the moon, it rules over our menstrual cycle. If you are a goddess, it moons over fertility, children, life's tides, the seed of life, the plan of life. It rules. Oh, it's really like the moon goddess, in my opinion. The moon goddess, it's someone who's beautiful, and in ancient times and things of that nature, it sat alongside the sun, right? I i i think that the the wisdom and knowledge that the sun gives us, the moon gives us just as much. It gives us an understanding of the information that we take in daily, like the wisdom and things of that nature. Like, the sun offers us wisdom in ways that, kind of takes us and beats us down, not beats us down to our core, but it really gets you to reflect on that ego side. And the moon is really that comforting one. It's trying to comfort. It's trying to show you that understanding and nurturing side. It's trying to show you the care. And we all must display care in our life in some way, especially when it comes to our relationships. So that's when it plays a huge part, like the moon's power. And like our rhythms and the rhythms and tides of the universe, the moon's plays a part in this as well. And I feel like you will find a deeper understanding and understanding what like motivates you, what forces motivate you emotionally, what drives you, and what drives you to do, and what drives you to make decisions, and what motivates you, right? And learning that you don't have to be so hard on yourself, because as I said, these are cycles that move and continuously move. And sometimes when we have emotions, we hold on to it, we lock it in, like literally snap it. We become a steel trap for our emotions. And it's really important to know thyself and not be confused by the world of contradictions, and understanding that we are swirling through these contradictions. And we're being harder on ourselves and things that are of that nature. But really, we need to reconcile with the way that we're feeling. We need to understand that all that we have struggled with, and everything that we have struggled with emotionally, can be let out and can be processed in understanding who you are as a person, knowing thyself, getting into that, understanding that we all have strengths emotionally and we all have weaknesses emotionally. And sometimes they're stemmed from childhood. And this is the perfect time, to go back and rearrange and have that nice talk with your inner child, and literally imagine yourself doing this, because you can do this in the dream world. Take a second, focus on yourself, lay your body flat, put your hands down to your side, feet flat, and tell yourself your body is relaxing, your body is relaxing. Take yourself to the astral realm. Definitely listen to a video about astral travel if you don't know about it, because this is great for this. And spend some time, even in meditation, but spend some time repeating back to yourself that you are going to visit your inner, yeah, you're going to visit your child in childhood, whatever experience is that. Because these, the moon, like the moon in our life has given us a experience that really tested our emotional like intelligence, that really got us to understand, like, wow, that hurts, ooh, that feels good, I like that, that's nice. It really got us to be in tune with those senses of our emotions when we were in childhood. And so it's going back to that memory and talking to yourself and letting yourself know it is okay to feel this way. These things pass. And holding on to those emotions and letting yourself know, your inner child know, or your child self, it is okay to release these now. We are good. We are in a better place now. We understand more. We have the embrace of the moon goddess now. It's more so like just letting those things process and move through you. And so, what is your moon sign? Let's get started and talk about what your moon sign reveals about you. Moon in Aries and moon in the first house. Okay, so Moon in Aries, this is a fiery sign, huh? Like Aries is such a fiery sign, and having the moon in a fire sign, these are fire-like emotions, very, very quick-witted, very good, very, very good senses, really sharp senses, really brilliant in this way. They have a sharpness about them, and this really brings focus to like their nervousness and their nervous system as well. uh, there's there's a sense to make an impression on the world around you, you know, never doubting, like never missing a moment, always wanting to just go and do. And in this way, patience is not the strong suit of a moon in Aries, but like a moon in Aries has this charm about them, this vitality about them, where they're gonna get what they want, and they're not taking orders from another person. And they're extremely like fond of talking. They can talk about anything, and they are really knowledgeable about many subjects, but they have a really short attention span, because as I said, they're quick wit. They're jumping from thing to thing emotionally, you know, and this gives them a short attention span. But nevertheless, they are quick when it comes to moving on to something new and finding something else that's exciting. you know. They leave a project but they go to another one that's even like even more exciting, right? When it comes to pursuing a goal, you can pursue this goal if you really have your heart on it, you know. You will drive yourself to the limit because you have this type of endurance when it comes to being able to take you know, being able to handle change, you know, being able to take any type of emotional imbalances that are being thrown your way. You know, the dark side of the Aries moon, it's really they're impulsive, right? They're very opinionated, and it's very impatient and vain in that way and domineering. And this is because like the moon in Aries is not trying to like doesn't want to be held back in that way, right? It excels in everything. It excels in its social scene. And I really want to say that what it reveals about you too is the fact that you are stimulated in ways that most people are not. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a sparkle that an Aries moon has that is really delightful, you know, and they're really kind to people that are kind to them. They're really giving with their money too, like you wouldn't think that. And sometimes they unselfishly, you know, give their time too. And these are when they're in relationships and you have finally gotten, you know, a moon to, you know, settle down. They're really giving even with their money unselfishly, and that's pretty good about them, you know. But also, you know, if you don't feel appreciated in any way or even in the slightest appreciation, you know, you will definitely start complaining about things that are not right, you know, start complaining about the other person. And I feel like Aries moon, they have a great passion for life. They have this enthusiasm that comes with their personality, you know. They really hate being restricted. They depending on the sun sign, they probably won't hold a grudge for long because they're just, you know, they're quick and they're going to the next thing. They will definitely do what they want without you trying to interfere, and they like this. They're like, I'm gonna do what I want, thank you, move out of my way though, you know. And it's really like that, you know, kind of like no one asked you, but you know, like I'm gonna do it for myself. So sometimes this can give drawbacks because we want to listen to other people's opinions and being willing to listen to their opinions, but it doesn't always have to, you know, sway your decisions, right? So there can be um, you can be very forceful in a way when it comes to making decisions. And even when it comes to being under pressure, you're really good at being under pressure, handling emergencies, like handling things that just happen quickly and suddenly. In emotional relationships, there can be a struggle with wanting to dominate and also wanting to the other person wanting you to submit, you know, being tied down. Moon in Aries is really hard to tie down in that way, you know. Like you have to be the one in control, you have to be the one calling the shots because you demand like freedom in your relationships. And even if you're not going to give that in return too, because sometimes, like, you know, the moon in Aries, they want people, or they want a relationship that is really um um free. Like you're free and I'm free, but like I'm free not in the same way that you're free, you know. Like the freedom is different in that way. And so, you know, it's like you are the, you know, the moon in Aries is the one that needs the love of the love and the attention of their partner. So they should not, you know, give it to another person. And they definitely want to be loved passionately for who they are. They want to be loved in an exciting way. You know, no, nothing ordinary, because they will quickly leave and be dissatisfied and restless and start feeling resent, you know, towards the next person. And Aries moons, like they look at life, like if you have the moon in Aries, they look at life as, you know, this grand quest to pursue love and accept and success and get attention from others, you know, and be loved by others, and others being chasing them, right? They love the chase. The chase is more satisfying than getting the prize for moon in Aries. Um, and also like it's not as thrilling as just getting, you know, like they want to chase behind something, not they want to chase behind something, they want to venture to get something. The moon in Aries, like their self-confidence and their um ability to be adventurous when it comes to like displaying it in their reality, in their spirit. They have this like magnetic thing about them, right? People want to be near them. They see their impulsiveness, and they still want to be around them because Aries moons has like this power of persuasion about them in expression and expressing themselves. You know, um, they have this positiveness to their personality, as well, and that's why people love to be around them. It's very intense, and they has have this like imagined innate native nature. And I feel as though it can only increase when it's you doing something that you're creative about. And I will say that the moon in Aries is definitely like very outspoken in its nature and has this quickness of the mind and will not live on the terms of others, right? And so that's all. Well, actually, let's see what. Oh, actually, the moon in the first house. Okay, so the moon in the first house. This is someone who wears their heart on their sleeves, right? They're really imaginative. Moon in the first house, this can be, your home and family, they mean a lot to you. Your childhood memories are nostalgic and they mean a lot to you. And it's almost like you remember them with this great appreciation and just admiring them and feeling happy, to have experienced that. The moon in the first house could want to be famous, because moon in Aries, wanting to be seen, wanting to be out there. And I really think that they're really emotional too. Like I said, they wear their heart on their sleeve. They're very curious about, other people's emotions, how they can be pushed, in some type of way. And they can have, actually, in the first house, because this is, the house of self. This can be a tendency to go towards moodiness, and maybe your energies are constantly fluctuating when it comes to yourself and your identity. So it's always good in that way, to practice your sensitivity, because this can actually display as oversensitivity, in ways when you're not appreciated, you're overly sensitive in that way. So always remember that people want to be around you. They see you, they love you, the attention is definitely on you. But when you do not get that attention, you want to apply different practices, like moon cycle practices, getting out into the moon, talking to the moon goddess, and having that embrace, and having the moon embrace you more than other people's, voices. So that's all I have for moon in Aries and moon in the first house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And if you can like and share my video with someone, that would definitely help me a lot, and I will love you forever. And if you can subscribe, and if this video resonates with you, please let me know in the comments below. So I'll see you guys. Bye. Moon in Taurus and moon in the second house. Okay, so the moon in Taurus, the moon is exalted in Taurus. It loves the sign. It's very steady. If you have a moon in Taurus, congratulations. You are the sign that has the least emotional baggage and turmoil. You are the sign that has the least emotional problems. Congratulations. So anyways, so the moon in Taurus, or the moon in the second house, it really gives you the power of great, concentration, of, it's a really great position when it comes to getting things done systematically, when it comes to tackling things. Your emotions are not overly weighed down in it. It's like, let's just get the job done, and let's do it for the betterment, just to do it, just to get it done. And, they can even get situations done even if they are the ones in pain. And that's where, that's where I feel like this sign really thrives. You know what I'm saying? Because even if they're in a painful situation, a Taurus moon, they're able to get things handled that need to be handled. And that's very dependable. They're really responsible in that way. And there can be times where you ponder the world around you, or you carefully look at what's happening around you in order to reach a real, like, conclusion or a real destination. It's almost like you don't quickly form, you know, results and decisions. You don't quickly come to terms with something. You take times to really discover all the facts. And then when you do come to a conclusion, usually don't change your mind because it's the right decision, right? And this the moon in Taurus has um a really good power when it comes to gaining earthly possessions, you know. This is someone who's really resourceful in that way when it comes to regaining materialistic things. They are blessed in that way, you know. And they're also blessed to have, like I said, the least emotional problems because getting, feeling good about yourself or feeling stable enough to gain resources is very important in this reality. If you want to have a house, you want to have a car, if you want to have all the things that are a necessity, you should be free, but whatever. Anyways, but the moon in Taurus understands that through practical self worth, like practical patience, responsibility, these things can come into life. And that's where this sign really thrives. And that's what it reveals about, the moon in Taurus. I actually know moon in Taurus in that way. So if you are a moon in Taurus, please share the please share the goods. How do you save? And even so, let's moving on. So, this sign really displays patience. They enjoy elegant matters. They have a really artistic keen too. They are very romantic and they want to be loved, and they want to be loved for a long time. They want a love relationship that's very close, very committed union, a one-on-one relationships where you're really devoted, you know? It's almost like that commercial where not even a commercial. I know you've seen a movie where it's like someone is in the kitchen cooking and the person comes home and they're like, hey, and the family is happy to see them. It's like this big happy family, you know. Moon and Taurus, this is what they would love, they would faithfully settle down to this, but the flip side of this is they would stay in relationships longer than they need to, you know longer than they need to because they're comfortable in this. It's almost like, okay, well, if I leave, then I would not have anything. And I guess that's where the struggle comes with the moon being in this sign. It's almost like, if you leave your committed relationship and you find, someone who loves you, or you have to leave them, it's almost like your sense of security is threatened, you know. There's a resistance to change because you want to be stable. And, it's almost like you'll stay in a relationship. And so sometimes in the heart, what really moves the Taurus moon is sharing a home, as I said, sharing pleasures with another person and who wants to do this for them in return. It's devoted, to them. And they're really looking for a true soulmate, when they can be happy with, settle down with, have a family with, and one, they can definitely, it's like you have a need for security. You have a need, this is a non-negotiable. I need to be secure, I need to be stable, especially from a partner, And sometimes this causes you to resist change, shut yourself down to new experiences and settle in what you already know and what you already have. It's almost like feeling again. You know how you feel. If I can fall in love every day, I would. Seriously, I would, because it's like that feeling of love. It's a spark of life. Like, love is God, and you want to feel that all the time. So if you have Moon and Taurus, remember to always try to spark new love interests, even if it's just in friends. Okay. And I really feel like this sign has great, determination. You know, they can really obtain material wealth, great material wealth, and achieve success. And I love this for them, right? It really all depends on all the aspects of the moon and things of that nature. But usually there is a way you can crack the code, moon and Taurus, And so they have a very constructive outlook on life. very sensitive. You wouldn't think so because they're able to process them in ways that, just process them, not even ignore them. It's just like, okay, I feel this way. And they're just very warm people in that way, you know, and they just want love and they need love and they need security. And, I just feel like the moon in Taurus definitely gives them that endurance to be able to take things, to endure things, for sustain things for longer than they need to. But as I said, always try to, fall in love with something every day. That is truly life. And so, Moon in the second, this is someone who is able to earn money creatively through their own means, through their own imagination. I love this. And through the public, through selling through the public, um, through financial affairs. They can be really good when it comes to being thrifty, crafty, very careful when it comes to making decisions, and very careful when it comes to making decisions about their money. And sometimes, the financial fluctuates because of their emotional imbalances. And if you have a moon, whatever your moon sign is in, if it's in the second house, if you are ever at a time where you're emotionally unstable or you're not paying attention to your emotions, your finances will fluctuate at that time. And, sometimes a moon in the second house could be a bit greedy, right? A bit extravagant, wanting to spend money emotionally to feel somewhat good about, itself. But sometimes this is not wise, you know, because, given the sense of security that the moon wants to feel within its home, within its mind, with its ability to plan for the future, it also has to understand that materialistic possessions, you know, um, they come and go. We cannot hold them all in our home, And sometimes we want to just like hold them and hoard them because they're ours, they're mine. Um, but in releasing them, I do feel as though you're able to, you know, uh, gain more self-worth. Releasing them, you're able to gain more self-worth. You're able to understand that things come and go, they fluctuate, and everything really depends on you. And so that's all I have for the moon in Taurus and the moon in the second house. And I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. If you haven't subscribed, like my video, or shared it with someone, please do. And if you're new to my channel, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and you can help me do that. So definitely give it some thought. And I will appreciate and love you forever. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Gemini and moon in the third house. So the moon in Gemini is, it's a bit restless. It's a bit quick. It's a bit when I say it's a bit quick, meaning its mind is extremely active, It it enjoys um it enjoys processing its feeling mentally rather than emotionally. And like, Gemini moons are really receptive when it comes to their creative ability, their imagination, their intellectual pursuits. Like, it's like information comes to them rapidly and they're able to make really snappy decisions. But they tend to be more led by their intellectual nature more than their in emotional nature. That's what makes the sign a pretty bit restless. It's like it's making decisions on a mental plane, not an emotional plane. And that's like its immediate reaction. Moon and Gemini's immediate reaction is to not to be unfeeling, but to just be smart. Let's be smart about it. This sign can be a fast learner, and it can have really high IQ, and it could be an excellent critic. It can have the ability to verbalize and analyze and criticize. It can have the ability to be really communicative when it comes to its speaking up for what it wants and what it needs, and honestly how it feels in that way. They have a really good charm that comes with, well, a Gemini moon has a really good charm about them because they're able to, please a social scene. They're able to make a really great impression on people around them. They're really good at speaking. Their skills is speaking, their skills is writing. And They're able to make really good teachers, really good writers, and the conversations that Gemini moons are in are so informative and very like uplifting, you know. And at heart, like if you have your lunar your moon in Gemini, there is this restlessness that you feel when you're not constantly stimulated. There is this restlessness that you feel and resentment towards people who are not constantly teaching you something or wanting to learn new things. And this makes you very unhappy because it's like, you know, this kind of sets you aside from other people because it's like that's why you just jump from person to person. When it comes to conversation, you're able to talk to anyone and have conversation with anyone. And if this conversation is going downhill, you're able to change the scene around you. And with Gemini moons, this is a mental, Gemini is a mental sign, and the moon is an emotional sign. It's like putting these things um, together. It's like analyzing your emotions to see how you would react. It's like analyze your emotions and thinking about the way that you will react now. It's thinking a reaction. So putting a thought form out there into a reaction so that they actually behave in this way. That's very calculating. And um a Gemini moon is very quick witted, very vibrant because they're able to undergo extreme changes of the mind, extreme changes of thoughts, very fast and rapidly. They're very free in spirit. They want to be free in relationships too. They want to be free in restraints. They don't want to be restraints. They want to be free. And sometimes they can like search for independence and search for they can search for independence, yes, but they're really searching for a partner, a perfect love, a perfect partner, someone who complements them like significantly, someone who understands them wholeheartedly, every single part of them. But sometimes these things don't exist because you know it's like we have to make I don't want to say we have to make people how we want to be, but in the in develop it's all about development. Gemini moons have to understand that patience and time must be put into a person in order for it to grow and thrive. And sometimes you Gemini moons are a bit snappy and they're very discontent. They get discontented and irritated by people not wanting to know more and do more and be more. And I do feel as though Gemini moons are really lively in that way, and they jump from thing to thing. And you have to understand in the search and finding this true love, sometimes you won't find this true love in life, or even when you are in a search, because it's like you're looking in the wrong places. You things are not always stimulating. Sometimes you have to take time for reflection. You know, you have to take time and see, what does this relationship need? And as the Gemini moon evolves, they start to see this and they spend more time in conversation, with another person. They spend more time researching about how they can be better, for their next person. How can we, because a Gemini moon is very delightful to be with. Like, people who are around them, they're so funny, they're fun. Like, Gemini moon is really funny. It's really like cracking a joke. You want to hang out with them. These are the type of people you want to be in conversation with, you want to travel with, like you want to know about their personality. Their personality is very fun. It's very, it's very witty, as I say. It's very charming and also very amusing. That is what it is. That's why you would like to be around them. But we have to understand, actually, when you're in a good mood, this is when you're good, and people want to be around you. But we also have to understand this as people who have Gemini moon, is that because we're interested, you get interested in things so quickly that you're like, okay, you drop it just as fast. You know, there is this thrive when it comes to traveling, when it comes to seeing new things, seeing different kinds of people, different settings, different conversations, meeting different personalities. Really, is good. It helps you thrive, makes you feel good, internally and the inside. And even when it comes to business and stuff like that, you're really good at this because you're able to understand the qualities that people want, what people need, and how to win people over. And sometimes, you know, there can be, like, when it comes to you making a decision, it can be really difficult. It could be a decisive, um and like, it could be very indecisive. So in that sense, you would need a partner. You would need someone who's strong-willed, or want someone who's strong-willed and can make these decisions with you, right? You're very intellectual and you have this independent spirit. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have this independent spirit, but you're looking for love, true love that exists. And sometimes that doesn't happen. We're not willing to let that other person be free too, right? And so, um there is this like imaginative sparkle on your personality, because it's like Moon and Gemini have done so much research. They have been in so many conversations and they have been meeting so many different people to uncover all types of different mindsets and thought forms and mental equations, and they are able to link into them when they need to. And these things increase their skills and makes them masters at talking to people, getting what they want, manipulation, to an extent in some way. And so the moon within the third house, the moon, this can have someone thinking emotionally, right? Thinking about, um thinking emotionally, but like imagining about it. It's like sitting in a daydream and thinking about how these things move you in a way. And you can, like, um with the moon in the third house, it's like you have these great memories. So it's like you're always, not always in a daydream, but when you feel something, it's like it takes you into this daydream and this like imaginative state. And this is like really good memory too. You have great memory with this placement. Okay, you can change your mind pretty quickly with the moon being in the third, and you could really make a good impression on people, as I said, especially on the public. Um, the third house has to do with our community, and it has to do with the media in some way. Not, well, I would say it's the media, it's you posting online, like Instagram and things of that nature. You can do really well with that when it comes to speaking, right? And so, the mind is just strengthening, but in an emotional way, in a way that it makes you be a little moody, right? Unstable, because our emotions and mind must be linked together in order to get them to work as one. And you have to you have to understand that your mind is very exquisite. If you have moon in the third house, or if you have a moon in Gemini, it's so exquisite to the point where, you have common sense. A lot of people don't have common sense. You're able to, you're able to write, you're able to read, you're able to understand words and their placements and how you use them, and all of this good stuff. It's just, be mindful about these things, because you sometimes we can, how do I say this out loud? Like, our mind is meaner than our emotions. Like, our emotions are the ones that hold that compassion towards it. And so, if you have moon in the third and moon in Gemini, you always want to remember to remain compassionate when it comes to the things that you know and the things that you research. Yes, you're very intelligent, and yes, your IQ is very high, and you display, the common sense that we all need and everyone needs. And sometimes people are not born with this, but we must remain humble in that way and compassionate in that way. And so that's all I have for Moon in Gemini and Moon in the third house. And also, when it comes to being Moon in Gemini, this person can be seen as a serial dater, because, as I said, they're searching for the right partner. But remember, in finding the right partner, or finding that true soulmate, it requires choosing someone and evolving with that person. And through the evolution, that's where you start to see that, yes, we grow together. As we grow together, emotions change, minds change, we change, personalities change. and it flourishes. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should be looking to find, someone who wants to flourish with you. So that's all I have for Moon in Gemini and Moon in third house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And if you can share my video if you resonated or if it was helpful with someone, and if you are new here and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, please. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Cancer and Moon in the fourth house. So it's in its natural home. So here is where the best qualities of the moon are shown. Okay. And so the best qualities of the moon, and the moon's in Cancer, is devotion. You know, it's care, it's patience, it's sensitivity, it's it's intuition. It's really displaying those mother goddess qualities, right? Embracing, you know. And so in this sign, it is really important for you to understand the world around you. And you understand the world around you through your strong emotions, right? And through the perceiving the world around you through your feelings rather than through your mind, you know? Through the way that you feel about something when you're standing next to it. It's like your guide in your solar plexus chakra is the one that is leading you more than anything, you know? Definitely do, because you do not openly display your emotions and things of the nature and your feelings. You always want to remain in contact with mother goddess that exists within inside of you, because it's always telling you something, right? And it's always leading you in some type of way. And it's always moving you. It's always signaling you. Let's just say that. If you have Moon in Cancer, you're always being signaled, you know, by Mother Goddess and the things that are happening in the world. Meaning through emotions, waters, tides, you know, movement, anything emotionally that happens in the world, anything that has to do with water, you know, symphonies, anything that has to do with the imaginative forces, this is felt by you, right? And you're more receptive than active in that way. And sometimes you can store away impressions and reactions and information until the time comes for you to use it. You're really great when it comes to this because your memory is fantastic in this way. And, you know, you remembering like the impressions on any I want to say any situations, definitely the situations that you want to savor, you know, the ones with your family members, you know, and the ones with people who are around you that love you and that you felt loved by through childhood experiences as well. And, you know, at heart, there is this refined and delicated, gentle being, and you may appear as aggressive and forceful because depending on what your sun sign as well, you know, because the moon in Cancer is very it's natural, you know, like it's naturally able to, depending on its aspects too, you know, but it's naturally able to move through these emotions, understanding that it's temporary, right? And saving on to the memories that really need to be saved on, because the fourth house is our memories. You know, it's about us thinking back to the past. Moon in Cancer understands, let's hold the good ones, right? Let's hold the ones where we were being, you know, protective and loyal and happy and things of that nature. And so because the moon is ruling over Cancer naturally, there is mood swings. There are greater mood swings with this sign, ups and downs, but they don't last long. You understand that. It's like the sooner they come, the sooner they go away. Type of thing with Moon in Cancer. It's like, okay, I know it's coming, let it come, let me cry it out, and that's enough. And so depending on your sun sign as well, there is a vulnerability, right, that you have where you can be easily hurt, but people outwardly won't see this, right? Sometimes you tend to let your emotions fester instead of, and have this moodiness, you know, instead of it's like pitying yourself or being emotional to yourself, you know. uh like I said, kind of like crying to yourself in a corner, and it's always like pity, like, is the center of it, you know. Almost like I feel sad for even having these emotions. But as I said, with the moon in Cancer, it quickly moves, you know, as fast as it comes, you know. It's really exhausting sometimes. Sometimes it makes you emotionally exhausted having to deal with these emotions. But you are your best when you are in a deep, committed love relationship. And I do feel as though when, as the moon is moving through the waning, the crescent, the full, it's always like these quick shifts in temperament. And it, like I said, it can be exhausting in some way, but you know that it's temporary. Okay. And so sometimes, with the moon in Cancer, there can be you holding on to relationships longer than they need to. You know, it's like maybe earlier in life you had to deal with some type of infidelity or love affair, or just something wasn't right and you felt cheated, abandoned in some way, and it was just unhappy, but unhappy love, like unhappy feelings, of am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? And this is like this, though it's in your nature to just like have this mistrust towards love. I do think from that experience, that memory is what held on for so long. And so, when it comes to a moon in Cancer's life, they can feel as though they're somehow unworthy of someone else's emotions, someone who is unworthy of someone else's devotion and love. And sometimes this is what makes you hold on for relationships for too long, that can be damaging and destructive, because it's like you have this deep idea in your inner psyche, or this deep emotional body, because the fourth house is the house of the emotional body. It is the foundation of the chart, in my opinion. It really is like stemming out everything from here. And so if you have moon in Cancer, moon in the fourth house, this your emotional imbalances is really like what causes a lot of imbalance in your life, or causes. And the reason why is because you have this undeveloped psychological idea, in your head, or even in it can even be in your generational like focuses or generational karma, because the fourth house is the house of ancestry. So this can be something that you're holding on to from your ancestry, that it is best for you to let go of, you know and it's almost like you don't believe that you'll find someone else's love. And I just want to say, if you have moon in Cancer, you can definitely find someone else's love. It is almost like Mother Goddess love is so powerful, right? Its presence, you feel it, especially when you're ready to embrace it. And, with Moon in Cancer, they can, look for partners that take care of them like a mother, and vice versa, right? So this is what they look for. And so it's like being alone, though, it's worse than being like devastated, or even being in a relationship that doesn't serve me. Being alone is worse. And sometimes moon in Cancer, even though, like I said, moon in Cancer really thrives in its best qualities, I do feel as though in its lowest qualities, or in its sense of reflection, or as tides move, because like I said, the moon changes every 2.5 signs. It's almost like you go through an emotional trial every month. Like every 2.5 days, there's an emotional trial. It doesn't always have to be heavy, it could definitely be subtle, but you notice them. And it's almost like being alone. I'd rather be in a destructive relationship, or even in uh um a relationship, or hold on to a relationship for longer than I need to, than to be alone. It's like it's a worse feeling, you know and in a Cancer's life, or a moon in Cancer's life, they definitely had to go through an emotional trial or tribulation, and see how they survived that. They had to see how they'd survive it in order to come out on top. Meaning, like, if I survive this, I can survive anything. And I feel as though when you find love at last, or when you find someone who loves you for who you are, vice versa, and you're able to accept them as well, that's when your personality really blossoms. That's when the moon is really like activated within you, you know? That's when you really see that the nurturing side, that caring side, that like happy side that's going around taking care of the children, you know, that's dancing, having fun. It's really living in that feminine energy. When you're loved correctly, it's beautiful because that's where you really blossom, right? And it really feeds your soul in that way, because the fourth house is the house of, like I said, it's the ancestry. It's like the base of your soul that needs to be fed, you know, in order to feel anything, to have a peace of mind. And there can be a tendency to be possessive with this sign as well over your loved ones. Yeah, I'll fight, especially with Moon in the fourth house. Yeah, yeah, don't play with their family members. They're not playing with you in that way. They're really not. Like, I'm laughing, but they're really not. They're like really protective over the people that love them, you know? It's almost like they'll hold on to them possessively as well. And, you know, I'm laughing because it's like someone that they love, they will test them by whoever. It's like the Moon in Cancer will test someone that they love by testing their emotional capabilities. Do you love me enough to go through this trial and tribulations? It's almost like I'm gonna test you so much to see if you really love me. That's funny. It's not funny, but it's like, yeah, Moon in Cancer understands what I'm saying. Definitely understand what I'm saying. Like, let me test your loyalty. Like, is it as intense as mine? Let me test your devotion. We want to be careful when we do these things, because sometimes we can be disappointed when we have these expectations of others. And it's almost like you want to be emotionally stimulated in this relationship. So, hey, how long can you endure these intense emotional traits? And I just feel as though when the moon is in Cancer, it just gives you this sensibility, and it gives you this imagination that's alive, you know, and that's amazing. You know, your intuition is amazing. It's like this warm-hearted person, very romantic in his nature. And I feel like your personal persona and your charisma is what people see in you. It's why people love you and they want to be in a relationship with you. They see this in you, this displayed in you. And so when we have the moon in the fourth house, there is this is like your instincts, right? Your instincts towards your family. You're possessive towards your family. You become protective over them, devoted. It's like you're a devoted parent. I'm a devoted mother. I'm a devoted father. And like I said, you know, this is a house of your ancestors, you know, past lives in a way. And in this life, it's like you're expected to change, and you're expected to change where you live. You're expected to change where your family lives. You're expected to change how you feel, to develop on you how you feel for your ancestors. You know, this can be a part of your life where you'll see recognition, because the fourth house is opposite the fifth house. I mean, the 10th house, and the 10th house. And our emotional nature and our home is based off of what we can achieve and how we can reach success. And so, you know, later on in life, you can achieve recognition in um, any type of like promotions and things of that nature at work, when you are um, worrying about how you feel about certain things, when you're facing up to reality. Because, you know, with the moon in the fourth, there is a sense to not want to face reality, because it is having to go back to those memories of not the best. And the thing is, like with moon in Cancer, they can bring up the best ones. But moon in the fourth house, it's like I can bring up anyone, you know, I can bring up anyone and still feel the same way that I felt when it happened. And that is the resistance that comes sometimes. And this is when you're asked to change in this life, you're asked to evolve, because you cannot be emotionally in fear all the time, emotionally in fear of not being good enough, you know, emotionally in fear of not reaching that family house, that family success, or not having that, you know, home or things of that nature that just is always in bliss, right? But you have to understand that in balancing out your own emotions, you will receive this in some way. You will receive when you have the moon in Cancer, you will receive. It's like you are the divine mother. And only when this is when you know that you're truly loved. When those attributes of you happy, you're up in your atom and you're going around the kitchen cooking and cleaning, smiling and taking care of the kids. You got the kid, wrapped up on your back. You're happy, you're dancing around. The kids are helping you clean. There is just this togetherness, in the family, and then the person comes home, and it's the vice versa too. If you are masculine energy and then the other person comes home and they're happy to see you and the other people are happy to see them, and then you see things functioning, that's when you know that you're thriving. And the moon in Cancer, moon in the fourth house, that's when you know you've truly gotten past those blocks. You truly can let go and let love, right? And that's when you know if you are in a defense, you're in a relationship, you're in a defense, you can never be emotionally available. It's not emotionally available for you. You feel like, oh my God, I'm scared. And, and you can't express your emotions, even though, you have these emotions. You always have to just keep them in order. You can never cry. Those are the relationships that you should let go of, you know. Those are relationships that you're used to in the past and that, you need to let go and do not hold on to them anymore. And so the fourth house is really significant. This is why this one is so long, because the fourth house is the foundation of our chart. And if you have the moon in here, your emotions and your reactions and the way that you react to things is key. And seeing how, and if you have moon in Cancer, always see how they treat their mother. Okay. And if you have moon in Cancer and you have a mother you don't get along with, or things are just not going in the best way, um, always try to still treat this person with respect, because this is the fourth house. This is the house of the ancestry. And it's like you can't disrespect the mom, even though it may not be have been what you wanted in that way, right? And so moon in Cancer is just so significant, or moon in the fourth house is really significant, because you are the base foundation for everything that happens in your life. And water, you must get in water, you must drink water. um you must go swimming, like literally take your family swimming, or take yourself swimming. It's like you must really work with the moon cycles as well. In becoming aware of self helps with this moon in the um moon in the fourth house. Okay, because fourth house is the home in the early parts of life, in the later parts in life too. So this definitely comes up in later in life. It still comes up, having the moon in Cancer always does. So that's all I have for moon in Cancer and moon in the fourth house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed or liked, please consider doing so. I do birth chart consultations, but you can find all that information down below if you're wanting to work with me. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Leo and moon in the fifth house. Okay, so the moon in Leo, this is creative. This is very creative in that way. Someone who has moon in Leo, very colorful, fun, loving. Um, I think that Leo is a really good placement for the moon, because it is this warm, like this warm sensation. Leo is ruled by the heart, right? And so people who have moon in Leo, they feel everything directly to the heart. These are really emotional people. Although it's not always displayed, it can be displayed as confidence, or even defensiveness. It can be displayed as well. But I feel like the qualities of moon in Leo is so powerful because it's so passionate, it has these extravagant tastes, it is the big spender. And having the moon in these positions, you have strong emotions, but they're reached through your heart, rather through your head. It's almost like it's like you can truly feel them. Like other people feel them, yes, emotionally, but people who have moon in Leo, you feel something directly, pumping through your heart, coursing through your heart. And um, I feel as though you're very quick, and when it comes to learning, you can learn great things as well. But your feelings have to be involved with it. There has to be something that really means something to Leo in moon in Leo. If it doesn't, they won't learn it. It literally has to arouse their affections. It has to arouse their fantasies. It has to arouse their love of life, and their love of self. If it doesn't, it's very difficult for them to learn in that way. They have no interest in exploring anything further than that, you know? And so I do think that the moon in fifth house, or moon in Libra, there is these senses, because the fifth house is like our fun, it's our entertainment, and our senses become alive when we're in joyous moments, and when our inner child is having fun, we become alive, and our senses become alive, and so we're able to be receptive and receive what the world has to offer us around us. But on an emotional level, this is what the moon in Leo feels. So it's like entertainment sometimes causes them at an emotional level. It's like, in order to change your mind or change anything around you, it has to change the way that you feel. And I feel as though it's one of the fun things I like about the moon in Leo is that they are not so quick to listen to other people's rules. They kind of refuse them in that way. Um, they're really intelligent, and they are able to quickly and be creative when it comes to ideas, and also in alchemizing painful situations. Moon in the fifth house, alchemizing anything that causes your heart to feel heavy is a great way to express yourself. Fifth house is a house of expression, and I feel as though, the more that you do this, the more sympathy that you give yourself, and the more that you express the highly creative part of you, um, or expressive part of you, it helps you alleviate the pain that you feel within the heart, or it helps you broaden your mind. And um moon in Leo, it's like they have this bigger than life attitude, like, this is my show, like, this is my fantasy. And it's almost like you say what needs to be said. You're drawn to the world of like music, art, painting, anything artistic. You're drawn to these parts because you want to be the center of attention and play in this public role. And because I said you are highly expressive, it's really important to alchemize any situation that weigh heavy on the heart in a creative way. Moon and Leo is so funny. Like, they're really fun to be around. Their sense of humor is fun. They have this sense of charm about them. They're really exciting. It's like, if things are not going on around them, if nothing is amusing around them, they are the life of the party. They will make things happen fun around you, because they like uplifting others. They like to have fun with the people around them, and they like to bring the spirit up around them. And they work well together in groups. Moon and Leo, they work well together in groups because they have a talent for inspiring people when they're doing their best. They have the talent for seeing other people, at their best as well. Moon and Leo can see people as, like, they can see people from the heart. They really understand where people come from, you know? It's like the natural mission in life of a Leo is to be a leader, right? One that's bossy, one that's overbearing. You want to be careful about this. But also one that's really cheerful. One that's like, you want to be a leader from the heart, a leader that stands for enthusiasm, like children, like fun, art. You want to be in luxurious parts of life. This is because what you're drawn to, but you want to be an advocate for everyone to have this in their life, right? The fine wines, the fine clothes, the clothes that are fun and exciting and that other people love and they want to rip off, right? Moon and Leo. And this is just a really exciting um, individual, I think, when it comes to hosting parties, when it comes to being around people. These are the types of people you want to have. You want them to have throw your wedding. You know what I'm saying? You want them to really throw your baby shower, you know? I will say that because the moon in Leo is such a great romantic, right? They're really good in, not really good, but they love, you know? And you really need a partner that takes that puts you up on a pedestal, because this is what you want to do for your partner. You want to put your partner up onto a pedestal and display, your affection, and display images of the partner, of how they're just the best person in the world, right? And you need this to be done for you as well. And there can be a tendency to put that on, a pedestal, and it not actually having basis in reality, or it actually not being real, it being fantasized. Being with a partner that does not live up to like the expectations of the extravaganza that you require and that you need to feel love is very disappointing. For a moon in Leo, it's very disappointing, right? Because you expect this. And so, you know, your love, it's like your love always has to be an extension of yourself. This is where you really thrive and yourself is being expressed. And when your personality is thriving, when you're being held up with pride. And even if, you know, because Moon in Leo can come off as sometimes jealous too and possessive, as well, and very flirtatious, in a way, and they can be an intention seeker, right? And so sometimes we just want to be mindful about our ego and our pride, because we want to be known for those things. We want to be known for the greatness that we hold, especially with Moon and Libra wants to be known for the greatness, you know, wants people to admire you because this is what they've been doing your whole life. But you want to be admired, and it's almost like no matter what, this is what I want. you know the Moon in Leo definitely gives you dignity. I feel like it gives you a sense of being affectionate, outgoing, and you have a really distinct nature for leadership. Like, you will lead, but as I said, it's leading by the heart. The moon being in the fifth house, um this is the house of, like I said, this is a house of fun, dating, entertainment, children, and excitement. And there can be this impulse around love, wanting to follow your heart, being in love with love. Um, but naturally, Moon in the fifth house is in love with love. Naturally, Moon in Leo is in love with love. And, you know, they're seeking out like these pleasures of life. And what I mean by in love with love is they're in love with that love feeling, because that is the feeling of God. That is the feeling of being alive, right? And so the moon in the fifth house, these people really, they probably will have a public image, right? But they want to be known publicly for whatever, like their self-expression. That's what they want to be known for, their self-expression, their creative intelligence, their creative imagination. And sometimes the moon in the fifth house, it can be overprotective of their lovers. They can be overprotective of their children, very possessive over their children, not wanting their children to outshine them in that way. um, Not wanting the children to, well, wanting the children, yes, to, to shine, to be um, bigger than life attitude. And also they want the partner in the spotlight as well, but they want it reciprocated. These things have to be reciprocated. You feel good, I feel good. You feel like the center of attention, I feel like the center of attention. And so that's the moon in the fifth house in Leo. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing or liking or engaging with my content, especially if it resonates with you. Share it with someone. I would love you forever. So please consider. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Virgo or moon in the sixth house. So the moon here gives a stabilizing effect, because in the moon in Virgo being expressed, there is a sharp analytical bend to the moon. There's this like intelligent, practical way that this moon has at looking at life. It's a very fine and discriminating mind. um it's almost like you're not pursuing knowledge to just have knowledge. You're pursuing it to see how you can use what you can learn. It's almost like the sign uses interaction or anything that they observe or anything that they find extreme detail in, to apply it to their personality or to apply it to their, impression. Their immediate reaction to learning is through their senses, what they can touch, what they can analyze from the world around them and receive from the world around them. Also, like thinking about what they've seen, what they heard, they really analyze this, even in relationships. They question everything. This is why it's difficult to really get through to a Virgo moon if you aren't getting through to them in the way that involves calmness, stable, being under control, you know. They look for a partner that displays confidence. And so, this makes the Virgo moon pretty skeptical when it comes to love. They don't believe what they're seeing, like with their own eyes. They don't believe you, you know? They need to see it to believe it. Honestly, let me re-say that. They need to observe it to believe it. And they like to discuss decisions. They need communication in relationships. Let's just say that, or in any work environment, anywhere, they need communication. And because they're really skeptical, they like to discuss ideas, and they like to think about the opinions of others. They sometimes hold on to the opinions of others, and um, they holding on to the opinions of others just to observe what they're saying. Like, is it true? It's just going in a little bit more depth to what someone else is saying, and in this way, it doesn't make them like stubborn, or like a know-it-all or anything like that. They like to hold on to ideas or hold on to theories until they can prove that it's right. Like if it's right, they'll hold on to it. It has to be proven first, or until they can prove you wrong. So that's, even more funny. And, Virgo moons are just a seeker of truth, the seeker of honesty. Like, if it can help me, how and what ways, they're really the helper in that way. In relationships, they want to help. In work, they want to help. They want to help themselves. They probably want to help you more than they want to help themselves. In Virgo moon, sometimes um, you believe that what's left under the what's left under the surface, what people dig up under the surface, that is not true. The only thing that we can find is the truth, right? Everything becomes exposed. So Virgo moon tries to dig for the truth so that whatever is false can come to light, and it can be exposed because the truth will always come to light. And this is what they seek in that way. They kind of deal with life as it is, too, on a practical realm as well. And they're really good at business and handling money and even saving. Um, the dark side of the Virgo moon is they can be standoffish, even a bit argumentative and, you know, critical. They are very high strung. This is because they are very intellectual, responsible and steadfast, and they can take care of a lot of responsibility at once. And so it makes them the know it all. They know best, in a way. They have weighed out their options, they know what's best for you. And so they have this this sparkle on their personality. It kind of displays this perfectionism, and this professionalism about them. Everything involves that type of approach. Like, they have an eye for gaining profit on the long term. Like, they really have weighed out the options in that way. Like I said, they really have taken a logical approach to make decisions. And so they believe that they can tackle any issue one step at a time. But this kind of gives them the tendency to worry a little bit, to think things, to overthink things, and to think that things may be wrong, you know, and maybe work a little bit too hard in that way too. Just feeling like, oh, it just needs a little bit more effort. I just need to do this a little bit more. And, it's best that you spare yourself from this too, because this can invite critical responses from others, or most importantly, critical responses from yourself, and you get fussy. But logic is, your discipline, that you live by. And it's really frustrating to deal with people who are scatterbrained, right? To deal with people who are not sticking to the task and not living by logic. They're not doing things in a systematic way that requires a brain. And you don't like this type of language, right? And you feel as though, like, those people, they belong to the ethers, they belong to a different realm, they do not belong to this realm of the physical. And it's funny in that way. So you are really selective about the people that you, and activities that you want to be involved in. It's almost like you you take experiences to learn from them. You don't have time to just be willy-nilly. Like, life is about learning, and you are responsible, in that way. And Virgo moons are very efficient. They're very tough, very thorough, and organized in anything that they approach, with their heart too. you know Sometimes they are not described as a word feminine, or they're not described, as the word like loving and caring and gushy and nushy, as moon signs, they display that vulnerability. It's almost like they are afraid of, you know, anger and feeling vulnerable. This is why it's difficult to show those feminine qualities, and other people see them as reserved, or, you know, cold, standoffish in that way, and tough. But people know that they can count on them. They know that the Virgo moon cares, and they know that they are a sign of service. Well, they know that the Virgo moon displays, attributes and wanting to be helpful, and they are helpful. And, sometimes the Virgo moon doesn't have a lot of confidence because of this critical side of it. If it can't fulfill its duties, it feels as though, what use, is it? And, in one way, this is, you know, I won't say in one way this is good. In one way, we do need to always think about the things that we put into the world, right? They need to have some type of expression of us. It has to be some type of thoughtfulness, and this is what the Virgo moon understands. And so they have this tendency to live in an illusion that their love is calm and stable and under control, but really, you know, they can take on the role as being critical, you know, even a critical parent, but being the caring parent. Unconsciously, the Virgo moon does this because, as I said, they're afraid of the vulnerability. And so they put on this illusion. And, and sometimes this is because they're trying to express their emotions through what they see, and like how they can logically talk about them, you know? And they're usually attracted to people that are not like them, that are emotional, that are less calculating, and more ready to be there for them, or more ready to display characters of mother, of a mother, of a father, of a caregiver than they are. Even though they display this as well, they look for partners that display this sometimes too, um, but not in calculating ways. It's almost like that feminine, characteristic. They need this in their life. And, Virgo moons has this common sense, as any sign in Mercury, any sign ruled by Mercury has common sense. But you have this common sense and this intelligent, thoughtful approach to life, and your powers mentally, your mental power, and your capability to unlock yourself mentally or unlock mental formulas or help others is definitely needed in this reality. But that really is what the Virgo moon approach to life is. It's very practical, but it's also like, where can I help? There's a line of seriousness that comes from a Virgo moon having to really sort through information and dig through the truth and figure out how it can help the world, right? And help them and help their partner. And the moon in the sixth house, this is someone who changes jobs frequently. If it's emotionally uncompatible with them, goodbye. Like, I'm not going to be unhappy here. And there is this unhappiness at work that may affect your health. There's almost like there is this emotional drain that comes to you when you have to go to work. And this is really important, for Virgo moons to find work that they can be of service. Or if you have moon in the sixth house, finding work where you could be of service, where you can alchemize the things that you have been through and help the next person, right? And it's really important for you to find something that truly suits you and that is for you. When you have the moon in the sixth house, because it's a house of health, and the moon is our deep emotional landscape. It is our intuition. It is a brain in a way. It's our foundation of the brain that we have in our human body. And the moon in the sixth house can be prone to stomach problems because that's where our intuition lies. It's almost like you get really nervous, and nervousness plays a part in your stomach and digestive system. So really mindful of this, that you do not stay in jobs that bring this out of you, that you frequently change according to how you can stay emotionally stable and mentally stable. But your intuition is definitely on point. Your imagination is on point. You know where you need to go, and you kind of know whether you need to stay in a job or not, whether it's complementing you or just keeping you in disarray, right? And there is this unstable approach. As I said, the moon fluctuates all the time, and so do emotions. And so there's an unstable and indecisive approach when it comes to responsibility, because the sixth house is the house of responsibility. It's a house of work and service. It's like, sometimes I want to, when I feel good, I want to service, but when I don't, I want to be left alone. Or when I don't, others, I would like for others to do this as well. Or you hide away, you know, and you sleep. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, actually, when you have the moon in the sixth house, it's important for you to sleep. It's important for you to sleep when you are feeling emotionally unwell, because this can lead to avenues of depression. But because your emotional body needs stability, it is important for you to seek help, seek therapy, um, or be the therapist. You can become the therapist if the moon is in the sixth house as well. By you servicing and getting help for yourself, mothering yourself back to health, that is really the moon in the sixth house. So that's all I have for Virgo moon and moon in the sixth house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'll see you guys in the next video. If you can like, comment, and subscribe to my video if you are new here, hey, nice to meet you. I'm so happy that you're here, and I would love you forever if you can hit that subscribe button and like and comment and engage, especially if you resonated with this video, and share it with someone who can find it useful as well. I'll see you guys. Bye. Moon in Libra and moon in the seventh house. Wow, moon in the seventh house. So the moon in Libra, this is someone who is extremely creative, adaptable, especially in unionships. Moon in the house of unionships, you're likely to be attracted to those who are familiar to you, those who remind you of home. You likely will marry someone who reminds you of a mother, of a father figure, you know and there's this awareness of environment that a Libra moon feels, because they enjoy the better things in life, almost like they enjoy the fine things in life. They have a good sense for beauty and art, and their appreciation to, you know, the environment is beautiful, you know, in that way. With Libra moons, their value, the value that they put on, you know, beauty and being pleasing and having a pleasing partner is pretty high, you know. They like the glamorous influences in life, and especially within partnerships as well. They like to display this. And anything that is not pleasant, they don't they deny it, you know. They don't understand it. It's almost like it's impossible. You know, they like to surround themselves with things that are alive and lovely objects. Really like a luxurious environment and a luxurious partner as well, a luxurious um, environment. And it's because they enjoy like the beautiful things in life, they will spend a lot of money too, you know. They will spend to satisfy their fancy, you know. They will spend to go on a perfect date. um, they would they have this really good personality too, though, that enhances their ability to get along with everyone and anyone. Like with the moon in the seventh house, um it's almost like you have answers for everything, right? You know, you have answers and you can reassure others, and you also enjoy sharing too with others. The moon in Virgo is extremely charming and dynamic in a way, you know. It's almost like they try to um like eliminate the world's this like disrationalness, or the way that the world is like dispassionate, or any type of imbalances that go on in the world. They try to eliminate it, you know. They try to just have this independent mind and be open to newer things and have a more marvelous understanding of like other people, you know, wanting to just see the best in them. It's almost like they want to see the best in people, even the partner as well. And sometimes they deny anything that can cause them to feel in disharmony. Like they're in a true battle with their heart and their head, you know, the moon in Libra people. And I do feel as though like their destiny is extremely tied up to the way that they feel about life. And they try to connect earlier in life too. See, the moon and Libra try to connect with people earlier in life. They get married earlier in life. You know, they really try to calculate their emotions fully by using their mind, but also by using their, so these people can get involved in like a lot of, you know, emotional and sexual affairs, you know, or different partners, or switch from different partner to different partner, because they're looking for someone who they can be mentally compatible with, other than being sexually compatible. It's actually necessary for them to be more mentally compatible with you and to find steamy passion and pleasure in that way, and to be balanced in their emotional way, than to ever be sexually, you know, inclined to the next person. And they find great satisfaction in security and reassuring others and sharing with others. You know, as I said, this is because this is a house of other people. Anything that the moon in Libra can do for the next person, they love, you know. Anything that they can you know, strike a level of fairness in, they love. Anything that they can offer their artistic vision in, they love. Charming other people, you know, they love. They're very polished, you know, in that way, and really seeking to connect with others, you know, deeply, on a deeper level, um, where they can find connection through the mental plane, you know, through the emotional plane, and then through the sexual plane. Moon and Libra will likely do anything that their partner requires them to do emotionally, you know, even physically as well. But you definitely have to hit them mentally. You have to stimulate them mentally as well. The moon in Libra reminds me of someone just who is extremely beautiful and can sit with music around them and just be in this bliss of, these bliss moments and ignoring the imbalances around them. Only if they can find balances in them, they will find the balance, but they have no control over it. It's almost like it doesn't matter. The moon in the seventh house, this is building that sense of security. As I said, these people can get married to people who remind them of materialistic, um, maternal figures. They remind them of um, they remind them of figures that keep them safe. That sense of security, and they can depend on you, and they can feel protected by you. This is what they want. You know and some type of they marry some type of parental figure, someone who tells them, don't do this, you should do this. And they like that. They like someone who's very protective over them, and they can be really popular when it comes to the public, because this is a house of relationships. If their relationship is strong, this embodies them to tackle anything in life. They can be really good at negotiating, really good at getting to the point in partnerships, being very persuasive in that way, if their relationships empowers them to do so. They can be submissive, if they can be the leader, if they can take charge, if they can really, the Libra moon wants to be submissive, but wants to be in charge in some ways. When things are unfair, they want to stand for something. And the moon being in the seventh house, this is really there is punctuation in relationships too, right? They have to make you feel good. They have to make you feel like something. The minute they start to make you feel like nothing, they don't have beauty. It's almost like out of sight, out of mind. How can I get out of this? And sometimes this causes you to change relationships frequently, and change people frequently, and possibly divorce, more times than you want to. But it's only because when someone is trying to strike that level of imbalance and being unfair and dishonest, you can no longer cope with that. You can no longer compensate with that. You can no longer meet that mentally. It's almost like you have to change it now. You have to go away. And so the moon being in the seventh house, it's really responsive in partnerships, because, like I said, this is a house of other people. So they really embody, the emotions of the partner, because they want to understand them in that way. They want to go deep in that way. And so that's the moon in the seventh house and the moon in Libra. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing, commenting, and engaging with my video in any type of way, or sharing it, especially if it resonates with you. That would be amazing, and I will love you forever. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye. Moon in Scorpio and moon in the eighth house. So, moon in Scorpio. I've met a lot of moon in Scorpio people, and the one thing that I can say about them or the one thing I can say about the moon in Scorpio through my own experience, is that Scorpio is a sign of death and regeneration, and of extreme emotion. And these people are extremely intense when it comes to their feelings. Like, they're motivated by their feelings, you know? But there is this spiritual nature of the moon in Scorpio. It's almost like they can see beyond what you can see. They can see beyond the feeling to know how to be disciplined about it. They can see beyond the behavior as well, and also behind the mental formula, even behind sabotages and psychological wars of other people. It's almost like the Scorpio moon sees so deeply beyond what we can see. It's almost painful for them to be able to see into someone else so deeply that they cannot see themselves, or vice versa, right? They see themselves so deeply, they understand that they have these extreme emotions, and they have the ability to love powerfully. It's almost scary. It's almost like mm, I will not let you see this, right? If you have Moon in Scorpio, you'll never let someone see these extreme emotions. You will never let someone see this vulnerability. And if you do, they better be grateful because they'll never see it again if it is not received right. And the moon in this sign, it just goes in depths, you know. The moon in this sign, I feel like as though it's so powerful because it has that little spiritual aspect of it because it's ruled by Pluto, you know, almost like, well, Pluto is the planet of destruction and fear. It's almost like Moon and Scorpio had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations earlier in life, and even with the mother first, that really got them to understand that life is a bitch in that way. And people do crazy things. However, they can still be loved, right? Even the battered and broken down people can be loved, or they can find someone to love them, right? And I really feel like the Scorpio moon is extremely clever, you know? They're clever at hiding their emotions. They're clever at getting you to display your emotions or you to display the anger that they feel. They can get you to say what they want you to say and you to feel how they feel. And not, they can do this unintentionally. Sometimes they can do this manipulatively as well when they're younger, you know. It's almost like you're not going to get me to feel this pain if you don't feel it as well. Like I can endure it, can you? You know, it's almost like I'm going to test you. You're trying to test me. Let me test you. And so they're really driven by their passions, you know, even though they deny that these painful experiences are their passions. The psychological makeup of others and, you know, just the level of pain that we can like encounter and the level of truth that we can uh, get to alleviate that pain is fascinating. You know, they almost become obsessed with these feelings and it becomes their motivation even though they won't, you know, they won't admit it, right? And I feel as though they disapprove of their emotions in that way because emotions are powerful and they understand that the emotions can really fog up the mind, you know, and they can really fog up the way that we perceive what's going on and even the way that we're thinking, right? And so they have this great tool that they use to exercise self control, even when it comes to experiences that are painful. They can almost cut off their emotions in that way. Yeah, I feel it, you know, the moon in Scorpio, they feel it, but they can continue to suffer through it, you know, unlike any other sign, you know, they can endure more than the next. And sometimes they can dread rejection in this way, you know, almost like they have to feel it out. They have to play on your mental space to see if they're going to be rejected or not, you know. But then as the moon in Scorpio grows older, it's almost like, well, not grows older, as they deepen their feelings, you know, as they become more mature with having the moon in Scorpio and able to get past the negative side, the dark side of being secretive and jealous and resentful and domineering. They reach this side of being in control, fully in control of their emotions, you know. Having these experiences gives them this phenomenal approach and this ability to love, right? And the moon in Scorpio possesses this enormous willpower that others do not have. I will say that. Um, and this acute power for observation. And it's not just observation as, you know, the Virgo moon where they're observing to help. The Scorpio moon is observing to help, but almost like what you don't even know that you need help with. You don't even know that your soul and your spirit is literally lingering in avenues and corners of hell or corners of darkness. And let me help you. You know, it's almost like you share your pain and I can help you alleviate that pain. And these are these are powers, you know, it almost gives them the power of emotions, the moon in Scorpio. But it's not easy. Through the first, you know, the earlier in life, it was very tough, you know, learning from the mother, learning that life is a bitch first as a child. is very hard. It's very it's very, I wouldn't say scarring, but it definitely, you never forget it, right? And the Scorpio moon never forgets this. But the when they come into power is how they let it transform them, right? And the Scorpio moon are the types that will wait years and years and years to get revenge on you, because you will not get away from what you have done. I try to help you. I tried to help you, and I tried to help you alleviate the pain that you feel. I tried to love you in the way that, that you needed to be loved. And that's the thing about Scorpio moons. They love people in the way they need to be loved, not even in the way that the person wants to receive love. And sometimes this gets the other person to act in different ways. And so they will wait years to get revenge on you. Don't worry. Like they're like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll wait. I'll wait. They're like that teacher that's like banging stuff around. Okay, I'll wait. Because they have this phenomenal memory. They almost remember. And I won't say that everything just makes them mad and everything just, there is this, you have to really hit home. It has to hit the heart and be hurtful. You know, it's not just something that's like unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? And they're not, because they're not cruel people, and they're really even not vengeful people. They just see that if you're not going to, if you are going to try to put me through hell, I'm going to really show you the levels that your spirit can go to hell, the deep and dark places that you can go to that I've encountered that you don't want to be, but let me show you something now. It's almost like that. And I know you can tell that I have experience with the Scorpio moon and death. They are they are people who are the best, in that way. They are really the best. They are extreme people. And so they also have this sense of pride about them, remembering exactly what the other person did to make them feel bitter at the time, or what they said, and the discipline that the moon has to just wait for the right moment and right time. I remember Scorpio moon said to me, when I'm upset, I wait and I observe and I wait it out and I look and I see where they go, and then I go to them and I see, like, are you really about that life? Are you really gonna come to me? And I was like, wow, I would just explode right there. And like, that's where you can tell the differences in moons. Waiting for strategy, waiting to actually do the thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not even a try. People like, oh, I tried to. No, it's like Scorpio moon is like, I'm gonna do it, and this is how I'm gonna do it. Whether it takes years, whether I have to strategize, I won't forget. And they're really funny in that way, and I've learned a lot in that sense. And so they are really persistent and determined to rise above any obstacle, right? They're not going to just sit down and let themselves be unfortunate and others around them be unfortunate as well. They have this secret sorrow, within the eyes. I've seen in a lot of Scorpio moons, almost like the eyes really tells a story. And the Scorpio moon looks into your eyes and they can see your story. And it's the same for them as well if you're really looking. Though their eyes hold intensity, their soul really bears as well. You can actually tell by the way that they express themselves, you know there's a level of sorrow and heaviness that I've seen within the eyes of a moon in Scorpio, but not in a way that, oh my goodness, I'm sad, this has ruined me. But almost like, wow, this is the level that people have stooped to in emotions, and they don't understand the depth of feeling, if we come to this life to feel everything, to feel happy, joy, resentment, rage, anger, let's feel it all. But we're not going to feel it all at the expense to hurt someone else. You're bringing down other people to your dark places when it's something that you face alone, and so the Scorpio moon, they really have they think a lot about the concerns about their family. They think a lot about the concerns about the mother, the health of the mother, the problems that the mother has had. And sometimes this lunation in Scorpio can need to escape from reality, almost into a fantasy realm. And that's where the Scorpio, that's what actually all of the water moon signs um are having common. They like to escape to a fantasy world, almost like, let me block out what you're saying because I feel good over here, you know? I can, it's almost like they can use the spiritual aspects around them, to benefit humanity. As I said, they have been to places that you will never go, or the people around them that have never been to, you know and it's moons and Scorpios. And so it's like passion is always with you, right? And sometimes there is this level of self-sacrifice I do feel as though that the Scorpio moon does, almost like taking on the pain of others because they can solve it. They know how to solve it. They know that when they were in pain, they wanted it to be solved. But this makes them a little bit forceful in that way, a little controlling, because other people like pain sometimes, just like Scorpio moon. There's this level of pain that you like. Everyone likes pain in some way. And sometimes even people complain about it, they don't want to change it. With Scorpio moons, they can really see in your eyes whether you want to change it or not. And this means a lot to them. And so they really make it an effort to express themselves. They have high standards in their pride and even in their craftsmanship. They are very creative in this way, and they are ambitions. They have the ability to be very creative when it comes to singing, dancing, entertaining in any way, even when it comes to psychology, being a psychologist, a doctor, helping people in some type of way, helping people in a way that they can put trust in you. They weren't able to trust the world, but they can trust the moon in Scorpio. And this is where the moon in Scorpio will thrive. Okay. And also, the moon in Scorpio has the tendency to attract the opposite sex, no matter if they want to or not. They have an extreme power when it comes to healing. I, for one, have been a witness. This is true. The moon in Scorpio has a seed of healing. It is almost like the seed of God or goddess, even if it's a feminine figure as well. You are being healed. It's really important for you to choose your partners wisely, because they come to you like crickets, like ants. They want you. They need your healing, you know, and they can see it. It's like they can smell it unconsciously. And this is something that you must be aware of, okay? Because this can cause a lot of difficulty in your love life. People always wanting you. And it feels good, because you can help them, just by a simple touch, even by a freaking kiss on the third eye, a freaking kiss on the head, a touch on the shoulder can really get these people to health to change for the better. And this is, I'm laughing and playing, but this is actually true. And this is not funny, because they understand the level of pain. They can meet them at that level of pain. People are afraid to go to the depths of hell, but not the moon in Scorpio. They can daddle and dip into it, right? But they have this fear of being controlled too in relationships, and that's what makes it difficult, because they don't want to be controlled by you, you know, because you let your trauma drive you. I let my trauma be the compass to alleviate me, to make me feel good about myself. And it's not that they're trying to say, you let your trauma drive you. They don't want to be controlled. They don't want to be controlled in a relationship. They don't want for you to put them in a place of having now to be emotional vulnerable to you. This is like a death like situation for them. This is a no. It's very scary in that way, because that means that you are now in control of the pain. You are now in control of how I feel. You are now in control in the level of intimacy that we have. No, thank you. It's very unsafe. It feels as though. And so to be at mercy of another person, there's a hell no. you know. And I feel like the secret to having the great level of emotional security and a sense of safety in your relationships is to feel the capacity to be loved deeply, to know that you deserve to be loved in the same capacity that you love. Someone who loves you deeply beyond just physical, beyond just you looking sexy, beyond you just having sexy parts, beyond what you can do for them, beyond how you can heal them. There is a merging that a moon in Scorpio must do to feel that deep love. And whoever is willing to do this for you will really, will really get the great aspects and the great, protection of the moon in Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio has really strong core, a really strong inner core, a really strong emotional body. They can have this, they can get to having this. They have this self reliance about them, and they are a magnet for influence in others. As I said, they have this way of not manipulating, but they have this way of swaying, almost like they are mirroring what you're trying to make them feel. Almost like, listen, they know how to play this manipulation game to not make it be called manipulation. That's how good they are. And so let's see the moon in the eighth house. And so the moon in the eighth house is the house of emotions and instincts, and psychology. And this having the moon in this house, this person is deeply sensitive, and they have a talent for healing. They have a talent for healing women, most importantly. Oh my goodness. This is a beautiful placement if you want to go heal a woman. They have strong powers of suggestions, of caring, of nurturing. They have interests and questions about death, the afterlife, because the eighth house is the house of death. The moon in this house can literally die emotionally because, as I said, feeling every single emotion does feel like death. These are blows to the body, you know. These are blows to the emotional body that we feel internally, And being able to survive that is being able to survive everything, It's being able to take bullets, Normally someone who is emotionally emotionally, like they die emotionally, they can recover emotionally, especially with the moon in the eighth house. It's like you die and you rise just as a phoenix. You know how to heal yourself back up in this house because the moon is the mother. So being a therapy to yourself, right? Getting yourself help and things of that nature. And so looking at your psychic abilities as well. The moon is very psychic, but you're looking at it in a more practical way. This is within the mind, how you can make formulas, successful formulas in that way. And so finances might be unsettled, especially in earlier in life, the eighth house too, because there can be, um, you know, relationship, like emotional imbalances sometimes, emotional problems within the relationship. There can be this, there's intensity, there has to be a feeling, right? And so sometimes they can suffer from these losses. It can be losses of inheritance, losses of monies, debts in that way. There can be losses of a wife, a mother early in life, because this is a house of death, right? And I do believe that they can recover from this because they learn to navigate those losses and deaths in such spiritual ways that are profound to their transformation and healing. It's almost like they really have died. They, like I said, moon in Scorpio, you will never really truly understand the depths of emotion and level of pain and sorrow that they have had to go to um, in order to be the great, um, people that they are today, and the people that you depend on, the people that you love and rely on. This is a Scorpio moon and Scorpio in the eighth house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If this video was helpful and you know another Scorpio moon, or you know someone who can benefit for this video, or if it resonates, please send it to someone else or share it, please. Thank you so much. I will love you forever, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Sagittarius or moon in the ninth house. Okay, so the moon in Sagittarius takes on a glow. It really brightens, I feel as though. Like you can really see a Sagittarius's personality if you have the moon in Sagittarius, depending on all the other aspects to the moon placements. So think about this. The Sagittarius is a bigger than life attitude. It's noted for, like, it's known for its adventures, it's really extravagant in that way. It's very um, quick and it has a adventurous personality to it. It's very optimistic. The sign Sagittarius is very open-minded, sincere. It it has a bigger than life attitude, as I said. Um nothing is off limits when it comes to moon in Sagittarius. And I mean by this, it's like they have the ability to get things done in the flash. They're very intelligent and they move through things really swiftly. They set goals and they achieve them. They're not really worried about the failure because, Jupiter having influence on this as well kind of gives them the senses of always feeling good. It gives them a sense, even if you feel bad, you can always feel good again, by changing your philosophy, by feeling better, by going on another adventure. You know what I'm saying? It's like you rarely listen to advice about pitfalls and drawbacks because you find everything to be workable. Nothing is unworkable, nothing is impossible. And with this energy and enthusiasm, it's like you set out to do whatever you want to, whatever you need to do. Sometimes it's make you a little bit lazy too, because Sagittarius is like the sign of luck. And it's almost like you feel so lucky. So things are going to get done anyway. So why do I have to stress? You know what I'm saying? I could just go on another adventure and it being done, as I'm on this adventure. And you really have this keen eye for judgment, when it comes to making yourself successful. Your vision is further than most people because you have a way of seeing further. Because when you discover different philosophies, usually the moon in Sagittarius loves to discover different philosophies and different ways of life, and they learn that through you know being in open spaces and traveling and meeting new people and being in different surroundings. These individuals are extremely adaptable, in that sense because they have different personalities. Um, they can be in strange places and foreign places and not have fear behind. This is what they would rather be doing. You know what I'm saying? This is what life is for. And they have this immediate reaction to new experiences. They want to explore, they want to learn more, they want to see the world, they want to expand their horizons. And, sometimes they're not even interested in money. They're not even interested in money or making a profit because money is just something that they use for their adventures. Money is just something that can buy them pleasure. It's like you just want to enjoy life. It's like you have this carelessness or recklessness or this bigger than life attitude, as I said 100 times, because it's really like that. It's almost like life is so big and we have no idea what life is and why are we not exploring it. And it's almost like you believe in your own luck. And sometimes you have the tendency to abandon yourself because you believe in fate so much that you don't see things in a practical way sometimes. And sometimes that leaves you to abandon yourself and leads yourself to disappointment. you know but as I said, having Jupiter's influence, it's almost like you feel good even about feeling bad because whenever you change your mind and philosophies and your belief system, your whole life can change. Going to different people and exploring new different things, seeing the things that we don't have, the things that we seek and the things that we speak, and seeking truth and cultures and how we are all one and how we can seek higher knowledge. That is the true essence of life for Moon and Sagittarius, right? They have a great sense of humor. They're really funny in that way, or they like to laugh. And there is this tendency, as I said, to maybe push their luck too high, but I mean, too far. But as I said, they're not knocked down for long. They have the ability to jump back and look at things from a fresher approach, a new approach with higher spirits. And now they're really ready to tackle on and take on the goodwill of the world. And so there can be this quality, as I said, this brightness and glow to the moon in Sagittarius, where they see the best in people. They see the best in you. They try not to criticize others, or if they do criticize others, they criticize others with a space of openness, with a space to leaving, feedback and leaving room for question, and, not being so direct. It's more of a, it's easier for the person to take the criticism, they have this adventurous approach to life because the thrill of the discovery and the thrill of life is life. Like, that is the essence of life, and they are stimulated in being high on life, being high on love, being high on adventure, and being high on emotional intensity. They love this, and I feel as though sometimes their partners can call them or see them as being detached, or maybe like just always in a different world, because the moon in Sagittarius, if they do decide to get in a relationship, they need a sense of personal space, no, they need independence, they need to feel free. And sometimes they don't want to be tied down by one person, and they refuse this, and they will note this, like they will tell this to you, or they will tell it to you, or they will definitely make it known. Like it will be known, because you'll see them being very distant to you, and, this doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love you, moon in Sagittarius. It doesn't mean that you're not loved by the Sagittarius and moon. It just means as though, let's explore life together. Like, you don't want to know what life is. Life has this grand perspective, and let's figure it out. It's this change and variety of everything that is involving love, that's involving life, and everything is always in this state of evolution, and that's exactly what they expect for their relationship as well, you know? And there is this certain level of lightheartedness that they feel about love and infidelity. As I said, there's like, let's explore life. They really understand that people change and evolve over time, and sometimes this happens in unionships as well. And um and they're willing to let this happen, and they're willing to let this natural state of evolution happen and progress other than any other moon sign. They understand that people grow and they change, and we must grow and change as well. And so, um, no matter what, you know, no matter what the moon in Sagittarius, like, no matter what they're learning in life, they're always striving to learn something. They have this love for learning, and no matter what they're learning, it's always going to teach them about these bigger, grand gestures. It's going to be surrounding these different foundations, things that have to do with humanitarian issues and instincts, and they really have a gift for being this independent thinker, or this a thinker that can, it's like a poet, a thinker that can constantly evolve and change and doesn't always stay with one thought, but flows and understands that things are forever changing and flowing, and they intertwine. And having the moon in the ninth house, this is someone who is extremely attracted to the unknown, They are wanting to have deeper connections to their higher self, to higher evolution. They understand the imagination and the creative mind. They're very receptive in philosophies and ideas and different mental formulas and writing and words, they know how, like, they are great poets. As I said, it's very dreamy, you know in that way, and putting it into words can be powerful too. It's almost like they're the ones to write that powerful quote, and I feel as though they can love history as well, almost like history brings them this sense of ancient, like, sauce, like this ancient outlook on life, and it benefits in them in this way. And I feel like they can get along too with their in-laws. This is a house of in-laws too. The people you marry, I feel as though you can get along with them, pretty well, you know And you can also benefit from the career of your in-laws and things of that nature, because that's what the ninth house rules. It rules, higher knowledge and learning and things of that nature. And you can always find benefit through these attributes, especially through, women in that way. This is beautiful. This is such a beautiful placement for the moon in Sagittarius. But remember that, um, having, awareness of these bigger than life perspectives, sometimes day-to-day tasks seem very irritable for a moon in Sagittarius, a moon in the ninth house. We have to understand and consider those around us and those who, give us time and energy. So that's all that I have for the moon in Sagittarius and moon in the ninth house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you're new to my channel and you haven't liked this video and it resonates with you, please do so. I would love you forever. And if you can share it with someone else that may resonate or benefit from it as well, that would be so great. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Capricorn or moon in the 10th house. So I like the moon in the 10th house because the 10th house is like the public image. It is, the outside world. It's how the world sees us. It's our place of authority. It's actually Capricorn's house, right? And so moon in Capricorn, this is brings a stabilizing, restrictive effect on the personality. Almost like there's this shifting influence of the moon, because the moon is ruling over your sister sign, Cancer. Being in Capricorn, there is a level of emotional sympathy, that you're missing or that you feel as though could be lacking. And the reason is why is because, like, the moon in Capricorn, its basis its emotions, or its personality, it's anything off of success. There is a, like, determined, responsible, disciplined and patient, committed person, in the moon in Capricorn. And having this senses of, like, achievement is really important to them. They can overcome obstacles, that kind of makes them seem, unemotional in that way, or unsympathetic, but only because, as I said, they're eager to learn about how they can thrive and succeed in life. And any type of complexity, any type of obstacle, they will have to get over it, or, you know, not have to get over it through the means of, like, overcoming this. If you have the moon in Capricorn, it is important to explore your own natures and your own avenues to find success, especially when it, comes to this placement, because you continuously seek this, and it's up to you to find that emotional fulfillment, you know? It's like you want to use your emotions as knowledge, as knowledge to, like, to put it to use. You're trying to use your emotional body and put it to use. And in ways, like, if you have the Capricorn moon, in ways you are extremely ambitious, a really great worker, a really organized person. But on the flip side, there is this rigid and opinionated materialistic side of you. It's really funny. I feel as though with the moon in Capricorn, they have this detachment to them, or this um isolating effect to them, or this coldness about them that people feel, especially within the home. And, like, they don't mean to put this up. They have this because they're trying to succeed, and they're reserving any emotional imbalances for later. It's almost like we have things to do. But it's really funny that they can shut their family out in this way. And it's important because it's important to know that as the moon is in Capricorn, you're trying to thrive and reach success for your family. And so it's important for you to remember that and not drown them out, because when the moon is in Capricorn, it's easily to drown out anybody, even your own emotions, even your own vulnerabilities, you can drown them out and push them away to reach and thrive for success. It's like you're haunted by this feeling of having responsibility, having to fulfill something. You're a really good worker in that way, but also you are, um I wouldn't say, you like to be alone, right? You like your solitary, right? Because you're determined and single minded and you have the single track minded when it comes to reaching success, or when it comes to reaching anything that can benefit you earthly wise. But this also can turn into a level of obsession, and sometimes it causes a level of depression too, because you're so focused on the hopes of one ideas that you have tunnel vision towards one direction. And though, like I said, these things are necessary, but if it's at the expense and cost of something else, meaning, let's not say, like, of course we must discipline ourselves and we must sacrifice in ways if we want to reach a goal, but at the expense of your own happiness, at the expense of the family's own happiness. There's almost this unshakable commitment. So weighing those things out, what is truly important, you know and when the moon is in Capricorn, and this lunation is almost like, um you must succeed and make this imprint on the world, but you will, you know this is something that you will do when you, like I said, you're paying attention to what's going on at home and not neglecting the family, or really neglecting yourself. Capricorn moons will go to a level of health neglection. Anything, like, there is this sense of, like, there is no longer them anymore. There's only a one track mind to success, and this can be dangerous and cause difficulties, right? Especially in the emotional areas of your life. And money is really important to the moon in Capricorn. Success is important. Money, that buys materialistic things. Not that you want money just to have paper, but you know that it bestows this level of authority in the world, right? Of high quality and high society in this world. And this is where you thrive. This is where you want to thrive. You know the right people. You know how to get in contact with the right people. You are a social butterfly in that way. Honestly, not even a butterfly. It's more like you are charming in those social matters. You know what people want. You know how to talk to people, you know? And sometimes there can be a feeling of loneliness with this sign as well. There's a level of suffering from insecurity, you know? Um, Even when it comes to this will definitely be unknown to all because it's very subtle. It's almost like this internal suffering of, or this internal dryness, even with humor too, you know because there's a secret terror of you feeling abandoned, or maybe you're not lovable, or having someone love you. um Having someone, it's like you stop someone loving you before they can fully love you, because what if they abandon you? You know what I'm saying? There's this distant there's this distance that the moon has in Capricorn. It's almost like they want the other partner to be overly emotional, so they know that they show and have deep feelings, right? But it's really hard for you to reveal your deep feelings, and therefore you get perceived as someone who's calculating or cold or aloof. But there is this level of authority and power that the lunar in Capricorn has, because they can, they can come off as very cautious and reserved, but sometimes this is necessary, right? But sometimes you tend to, like, turn your feelings inward, and this causes you to need a lot of emotional reassurance. And that's why I always say it's important for you to have a partner around you that always is emotionally displaying, care and affection and vulnerability. You can find it difficult to put your complete trust into someone. And so, um, this emotional insurance that you need. You just allow it to be drawn out, because there's this level of difficulty in trusting someone, almost like you can just put it down and block it out, do something else, keep yourself busy. And the moon in Capricorn, I really feel like this is an older type of love, right? This is a type of love that you probably won't find love until you're older, or experience that long lasting love, because moon in Capricorn wants something that's really long lasting and stable, because they're really committed, loyal, steadfast, generous, and very giving in that way. And usually after, your Saturn return, the Saturn goes over your moon, or even later in life, after 35, you find someone because you understand that love is more tolerable, love is more endurable, and that things will not always be steady, but having a partner in life, having yourself committed to someone, can really help the relationship last for a long, long period of time, and the Capricorn moon, or Capricorn in the 10th house, really gives this person this persistence, almost like the world sees this emotional body about you, and they like you for this, not liking you, but they make judgments upon you for this, right? And there's this powerful personality displayed in the Capricorn moon, or moon in the 10th house, that is outwardly seen. As I said, there's this persona, and it constantly fluctuates. Like, people know, if you're definitely in the outside world, if you have like an outside image, people can see you for that personality that you have. You have this instinct personality for excellence, for success and thriving, to win, right? And the moon in the 10th house, like I said, this is a house of your career and your public image and your profession. And so, like, if the moon is there, you probably won't have a internal a you probably will have a public life. You probably will not have a secret life. There's more being displayed outwardly on the open. You know what I'm saying? Almost like um there can be a point in your life as you get older where you want to change your profession. You know what I'm saying? But you completely change the way that you feel about the things that you're doing in your life, or the way that your life is going, right? And this is where you become intuitive about where you need to change and where your life needs to go, and the direction and the image that you need to put onto the world. Almost like what the public wants. You really know intuitively what they want, but it's important to understand that it's about what you want, because the moon is such a internal universal thing that we don't outwardly display. It is really the base of our foundation, and putting that into the public's eye, this is an avenue, or this opens the person up for criticism, because people see your emotions constantly fluctuate. You're constantly going through this. You feel like this. It's depressive, People don't want to see that. They want to see the good things in life. And, that's where I feel like sometimes public scandal can come in when the moon is in the 10th house as well, because, as I said, your inner world is on public display, and that's not always easy. So, that's all I have for the moon in the 10th house and the moon in Capricorn. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. And if you haven't, subscribe to my channel and you're new here, welcome. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and if you can help me do that, I will love you forever, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye. Moon in Aquarius, or moon in the 11th house. Okay, so the moon in Aquarius, this is a very creative person, very tolerant, They have a clairvoyance to their personality, almost like they see what lies ahead, like a prophet. Because Aquarius is a future based sign. They see things before it comes, It's like future knowledge comes to the moon in Aquarius, or if you have moon in the 11th house. This is a sign of clear logic, of rational thinking, and of intuition. This is a sign of technology, of science and things being accurate, accurate calculations, and having to go into the depths and the impressions of the world or of humanity and see how it's evolving and what needs to go and what needs to stay. There is a scientific approach that comes to the moon in Aquarius's personality. This is what they receive from the outside world, and they're able to be open-minded in that way. Seeing things from a human point of view, whether uh, seeing things from a human point of view, not just like a basic point of view, other than other people. That person is a girl, that's a boy, that's a kid, that's a woman, that's black, that's white. Moon in Aquarius just sees it as humans need this, humans need that. Almost like they see things in a genetic way, right? And this gives them a space to not be too emotional and not be too brutal. They have this sense of like vision. They can see the vision, but not be like, they see the future vision. Let's just say that, right? And they're really delightful in that way because they can be a delightful companion because they are so intelligent and a genius in its emotions, but its emotions and humanity and its development on the emotions. It's seeing how, yes, we feel this way in time, in this moment, but in the future, we can develop and turn into this by using science, by altering perceptions and things of that nature. And there's just this sensibility, you know, the moon in the 11th house has behind expression too. They have a wonderful gift of expression, you know they have a wonderful gift of being sociable and outgoing and really trying to handle people's problems because they're interested in handling people's problems. But the problems of humanity, as I said, there is a level of passion, that comes to the moon in Aquarius, like passions of the minds, passions of what we can do to further humanity, this passion of logic. If this is not working, obviously let's try something different, you know what I'm saying? And they're really interested in these ideas and philosophies and higher learning in that way, music and literature, and how we evolve in that way, and how it changes our perception, you know what I'm saying? And these mathematical equations and the matrix. Or moon in Aquarius is a very genius like sign who are really interested in the difficult fields of people that is associated with like the variety of people. They're really associated with difficult fields or different fields that people are not really interested in, but how to develop on them, right? And there is this just well rounded intellectual being, but through its emotions, it has this clairvoyance. It's like if you feel some way about the future, it gets put into your body. It's feeling irritated that other people are not way past their time. Moon in Aquarius is someone who's way past their time when it comes to technology. They understand that technology is way more advanced than these little phones and these little recordings. Like, there's no way that we've had technology for since I've been born, and I'm using this phone and you can still hear stuff in the background. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, yeah, if you spend $1,000 or you spend way more much money, Moon in Aquarius understands, yes, if you spend more money, of course you have better quality, but no, but there's a way to tweak these things with science, with metaphysics. Like, people are not understanding that aspect. They're understanding just monies, but a Moon in Aquarius, a Moon in the 11th house are understanding eccentrics. They're understanding, evolution and technology advances, and how it's favorable for us as the people. It's better for us. It's actually better for humanity to be in more naturalistic ways of technology than the destructive ways of things breaking and having static in it, just because of the cost. Excuse me. It's like, in all reality, that doesn't make genius sense. It doesn't make sense to the moon in Aquarius, and sometimes they take these things um to heart, and they want to do something about it. And so they're really interested in the unknown. They're really interested in what lies ahead and seeing things before it happens. They're really interested in where we can go, the things that we can further ourselves to be. And as I said, this is a sign that's really unpredictable too. It's really fixed and it's opinionated because, okay, Aquarius is a very fixed sign, right? And like when it comes to hard work, it's like you are willing to turn your concept into reality, but actually, when it comes to hard work, you you kind of will go to a different thing, right? Because Moon in Aquarius, it requires a collective community to bring the things into life that you want to bring in. And it's like you'll drift to a new idea and start a new idea if it requires a lot of work. But if you do truly want to get something done and it requires hard work and things of that nature, you can perform well in this aspect. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes you can promise way too much. I would say that working alone for a moon in Aquarius is not the best. Working in a group is where you will thrive the most. You will feel more um, pressured, when you are working alone trying to achieve something, right? That can benefit more than just you. Okay. So being interested in, people, places, and project, this is what you're interested in. So, becoming a part of those projects is great, but there's a sense of feeling suffocated by another person's demands, because, anything in Aquarius wants to feel independent. They want to feel a part of a whole, yes, but I'm still an individual, you know it's really wanting to stand apart but stand together. And in that way, they feel suffocated by other people, There's this strong sense of romance. Yeah, they want to go on romances, and they have different romantic partners, but almost like it cannot be, it cannot show any possessiveness, any jealousy, you know any feeling as though you're getting something that the other person is not. I do feel as though Moon and Aquarius would do well with different types of partner, because a moon in the 11th house of groups of people. This can even be a person who enjoys to have relations with different people. Always be honest about that though, if you have the moon in Aquarius, and you are often drawn to emotionally unavailable people because, like I said, you would like to have different places with different people, different relationships with different people, you know and it's almost like you don't need them to need you all the time. Having someone less interested in you, it's like the more interested you become because you understand they understand you at that level. And the ultimate goal, for the moon in Aquarius is to have people understand themselves, even people understand them even though they misunderstand themselves, moon in Aquarius, because there is this level of discomfort that the moon has in here. I feel as though, because as I said, you know, the moon is our um instincts, it's our emotional tactics, right? And Aquarius is very stimulating. It's very persuasive in that way, and it's very unconventional in that way. And so it has a detachment from the home, a detachment from relationships, you know? And there's this longing to feel connected, but ultimately feeling totally detached, and there's a swinging back and forth, But in the early years of life, for moon in Aquarius or moon in the 11th house, there could be um, times where um, you were trying to figure out what you wanted emotionally. You were trying to figure out what you emotionally wanted, what your mind wanted, and what your emotions wanted, like what do I want emotionally and what do I think that I want? And there's a swing back and forth, and that's what leaves this romantic longing, you know what I'm saying? And then you as you grow older, and you find a companion in life, there can be a friendship, right? A friendship that needs to be built first, because Aquarius rules the house of groups and friends. There's a lot of level of companionship and friendshipness that they would like to have with their partner, you know? Almost like that's what keeps the partner together. And it is especially communication of the Aquarius, Moon and Aquarius. Even if we have to talk about the most uncomfortable things ever, and even if you don't want to talk about it and I don't want to talk about it, we need to talk about it. For the Moon in Aquarius, you know, and they're really honest in that way. And I feel like the moon in Aquarius gives this sense of independence, you know, very stimulating mind, you know, stimulating your emotions, trying to process your emotions through your thoughts, you know, or by being around groups of people, you know, by observing how they process their thoughts. And there's this persuasive charm that you have with people. And I really feel like on the great side, you know, these things displaying your personality, but on the side of your personality that is unconventional, right? These are the things that you must embrace about yourself. Not so much about the outer world embracing things. It's more so the individual qualities about you, you embrace it because that's when others embrace you as you are. Having the moon in the 11th house can be you attracting admirers, right? People see you easily in a charming way. They can see you in a way like, I want that. I don't know what that is, but that's something that I want. Not even able to figure out, you know, as I said, you would like to be understood and having people admire you in that way. It's almost really entertaining, you know. There's a flair that you have for entertainment, especially within your home. You would definitely like groups of people in your home, you know, parties, get-togethers, and things of that nature. Um, Sometimes there can be unreliableness when it comes to friends, you know what I'm saying, or scandals, because as I said, this moon sign can do well with different relations and different groups of people, you know, and they have admirers in that way, and people are willing to really entertain them in any way that they would like, you know. There's just something about the moon in Aquarius that makes you want them, you know, and they're really emotionally intuitive when it comes to dealing with people. And that's what I feel is though, you know, like they know what people want and they know what the group wants and they know what the world wants and they definitely know what women want. And if it's in having the moon in the 11th house, it's like um you gain this logic, right? You gain this logic um of the goals that need to be set for humanity, right? And so in life or some part of life, if you have the moon in the 11th house, you had to change your friendships, change your relationships, like things changed, goals shift, like everything shifted in your life at one point. And it really got you to look at, you know, how you were dealing with people. You know, people liked it. People liked you more when you were aloof. You know what I'm saying? When you weren't paying attention. And you start to see as you started to pay attention, yeah, people, they love you even more. But I will not be telling that. But you see how they become more possessive and try to tie you down even more. So having the moon in the 11th house is really tricky in that way because you're just wanted, you know, like I want you, everybody wants you. Like, no, I'm just kidding. But, you know, in that way, it's just like there's something about you, you know, that is, you no one can understand and no one can pinpoint, but they know that it's there. And so I would definitely say when it comes to having moon in the 11th house, you know, especially if it's in Aquarius as well, is be careful with your, you know, reserving yourself or reserving the things that you want and making sure that this is truly for the world, you know, this is truly to help humanity, you know? And so that's all I have from Moon in the Aquarius and Moon in the 11th house. So I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. If you resonated with this video, please share it with someone, a loved one that can benefit from it as well. And it can help them as well. I would love that. And I will love you forever. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Moon in Pisces or Moon in the 12th house. Wow. Okay. So having anything in the 12th house is extremely profound. This is the house of the hidden, sorrow, self undoing, spirituality. It is really the house of your divinity. And the moon in Pisces is the sign and the symbol of divinity. It is truly the symbol of the reflection of the world as it is, right? Because my Pisces is a reflecting sign. It is a sign of um, adaptability. It is very compassionate in that sense when it's willing to self-sacrifice and give itself away in the mix of love, just to immerse its senses for love. Moon in Pisces is very loyal in a way, but it's very creative. And because Pisces is a sign of the undoing and sorrow and self sabotage, these things come into play when they cannot fully express their love because their love is so big and it's so vast and it has no container. You know, there is really no level of giving that a Pisces moon can do. And so this causes them to feel very unfulfilled, almost like they will never reach fulfillment emotionally because of these tides that they feel. And with the moon in Pisces, it's really important to understand your deep feelings as a way to understand human condition. Like our emotions is a language to us. And having the moon in Pisces, you are the first to know the language, right? You're the first to learn how to alchemize this language. And sometimes having the moon in Pisces, it's like the language of the universe is not always expressed outwardly. Our internal nature and our fantasies that we immerse ourselves in is sometimes not received well to the other world. And with Pisces in the house of the hidden and the moon in Pisces, there is this level of intense like romanticizing things. Even your reality, you don't see things as it is actually. You see things more um like you have to see things more accurately, and you don't see things more accurately because you are receiving these impressions from this internal world of mystics, you know this internal world of the seas of forever giving. Like, just because people like you're like this, other people are not like this. And the moon in Pisces in childhood had to really be tested a lot, with this. And it's like, as they grow older, they had to really understand that their deep compassionate nature is not displayed in every single person that they encounter, and that people are drawn to the moon in Pisces that need healing and they need help because the Pisces has this capability to be compassionate to the ant on the street. They have this sensitivity to love the unloved, and people really see this in their aura, and in their personality. And your instant reaction to, um, like to interpret things is you have to interpret things as they truly are, right? And wearing these rose colored glasses and being this overly optimistic, but almost like it can't be cured. You have to have this overly optimistic, almost like this overly optimistic is what helps you alleviate this pain, this dreaming personality, and being the poet and being able to alchemize and say certain words and be able to hold certain thoughts and spirits and things of that nature, and having this expression is great for you, right? But once again, you cannot wear these rose-colored glasses through reality, because, like I said, this is 12th house is a house of what's hidden, and Pisces is a sign of what's hidden. And some things are not hidden. Like, these things are hidden to you until later on in life. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like this capacity to feel it's so huge, and you really try to keep this part of yourself well hidden, and in a way you will, like Moon in Pisces, as I'm explaining, these are internal things that you feel in the inside. People don't just see this on the outside. They don't get the goods, you know. They don't get the goods yet. They don't get that in-depth part of you that will literally liberate yourself to make the other person thrive in their world. Like, they don't understand the capacity that you will give to the next person. This is internal. You don't show this outwardly. You really try to keep this nature of you well hidden and just like escape to that part of your of life, right? Try to escape to that world, you know, being naturally um like having this keen eye for this natural beauty, you know, for this beauty of arts and this beauty of music and entertainment and singing and writing and dancing and film and, you know, anything that is artistic. Like, this is what you're gifted with. You're gifted with this as a love, as a way for you to express, you know, whatever needs to be expressed outwardly. Moon and Pisces will always need to express themselves in ways that can offer them creativity, you know. But the dark side of the moon, there can be secretive, you know, easily confused and even more decisive because they are unsure, you know, they're unsure of you. They're unsure of the place, the people, and the things. The only thing they're not unsure of is their world, their internal nature. You know, the only thing that they're not sure of is their sensitivity, they're unsure of is their sensitivity. You know what I'm saying? Their capacity to love. And um having the moon in Pisces, there is this psychic vision. You are completely psychic with the moon in Pisces. Completely psychic. Moon in the 12th house. These dreams are so profound. You know, sometimes as children, they can be nightmares that are wow, you know, that are just extreme, you know. And because this is a house of karma too, these are like moon in the sign. It's this is the base foundation of your chart, right? And this is the base foundation, meaning that these are things that you must address in your everyday world, in your everyday life. You will not escape it. It's almost like everything reverts back to that thing. And being having the moon in Pisces is important to not run away from or hide from what truly needs to be expressed. It's like you were like having the moon in Pisces is being born at this special like vibration, right? You're being born at this frequency and during being born exactly during this time, you know, Neptune in Pisces for the first time. Think about that, you know, and having these like different like being born at this time, there is a reason that makes you special, you know. There is like this there's friendliness about you where you can befriend humanity, you know, almost like you came here to heal humanity because you are their friend, you know, like you understand them in a way that you understand having deep desires, you understand having weaknesses, you understand having anger, compassion. This is the Pisces is the last sign, so it understands everything. And so having the moon in Pisces, moon in the 12th house is really profound in any type of nature. And there can be a weakness in letting people with strong wills and opinions lead you towards the path that they choose for you. And you listen to them because you feel as though, you know, it's wisdom. Wisdom from people that are in the real world. You know what I'm saying? And in the real world, this is where you don't have the best time. Like, this is not your best strong suit. So you feel as though, you know, it's not easy always in the real world. You know, it's not easy always having to dabble in the matrix. It's like the spiritual world is where you comprehend, and that's where others don't comprehend. And so there's this imbalance, and that's where the two fishes comes in. It's like the 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 veil is so thin for the moon in Pisces that it's always stripped away. There is nothing that's like there's no separation from the two that other people think that things are separated. We have died before and we are living again. You know what I'm saying? Our dreams, we die every night, and the moon in Pisces really understand that, right? And there's this strong urge, there's strong tendency to want to escape reality, to have these, to want to escape obligations or responsibilities that are based out of materialistic world. It is almost like they do not understand that this is confusion. you know, and making final decisions and things of that nature. Even conflict causes anxiety for the moon in Pisces. We are all in love. Literally, we are all in love. Like this is the moon in Pisces. Let's love each other and have compassion for each other, because this is a wild ride of passions and influences. And let's just experience life, and our desires. And these are, like I said, they're very special people in that way. And because not everyone sees life in that way. And I do feel as though through helping others, this is where you do liberate yourself, right? You know, like you would prefer to um, live in an illusionary reality, living in a reality based off your own passions, really sweeping away things that don't matter and putting in what you desire. I feel as though this is the euphoria of life, love, and life, and always wanting to be immersed in those things, really involving yourself and eloping your entire being into this feeling of love and compassion and selflessness. And it's really that sensitivity of love, that divinity, because you know that love is the highest form, and feeling that is truly what Pisces moon always want to feel, you know? And I really feel as though sometimes they drift away from um, the life, or they drift, not the life in general, they drift away from relationships because they are trying to glow from love, right? And, glowing from love sometimes um, can be heartbreak too, right? Love is not always glowing, and that's the thing with a moon in Pisces. It's just it's those things. It's like we can have painful love experiences, but we can also have powerful love experiences. And having moon in Pisces, you must understand that love is love, and falling in love is great in any way. And sometimes they use these mechanisms of psychological escape to escape these things, right? Because they're naturally romantic and will do anything to make their mate happy, and anything to make them feel like they are, equivalent to some type of greatness. They can really be like, when they feel vulnerable and when they feel like they can depend on the partner, you know um this is when they really open up. Otherwise they don't, otherwise they become defenses, and they avoid trying to be hurt. They avoid anything. They fill their minds with different things. It's almost like you tell them something, but they take it another way, to like not really, basically just to like sustain the joy in the relationship, the beauty, you know but understanding that you have to go in depth in relationships. And Moon and Pisces understand this as they grow, and mature, in their emotion, and they learn emotional intelligence. Not everything needs to be taken to heart. You're ugly, okay. You're this, that's okay. I have my moon in Pisces. I feel it all, There's a sympathetic heart that the moon in Pisces feel. And I feel as though it's needed in this life, because people are not sympathetic and people don't care about other people. But moon in Pisces, they care about all extremely in this in this compassionate way. And I feel as though sometimes in their life they can be like, no, I'm not going to give a fudge about anyone, you know and they can try to be cold and try to be standoffish, but it just causes them to be hiding. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not mean people. They're not nasty, you know? And so there is this artistic temperament about them that it is always displayed through the personality of the moon in Pisces. It's really beautiful in that way. And they have a long lasting impression on the next person. Because as I said, you're able to really see the beauty that exists within Pisces, and not the beauty and the looks, though Moon and Pisces people are very beautiful, right? But I mean the beauty of the personality, the innocence of they really care. They really care about me type of thing. And now that's not always felt by people, you know what I'm saying? And no one will ever forget this, right? And I love this. And having the moon in the 12th house is just as powerful. It's almost like these are things that are hidden, and they happen a lot internally. And as I said, the moon moves cycles every 2.5 days, and Pisces is such a feeler, you know, and there is gifts, that does come from feeling, right? There's intuition, there's clairvoyance, there's imagination, there's a dream world, there's ancestors, there's the ascendant masters, there's all types of things that exist. There's Reiki, there's learning to work with energy to help your emotions, right? To help yourself, right? And there is a sensitivity in the 12th house, of course, when it comes to other people, but they are intuitively connected naturally to the next person. And they often try to hide their real feelings away, because they are extremely profound. If a moon in Pisces or a moon in the 12th house actually told you how they felt, it would be a lot to a person who is not truly ready to hear and receive. But if you are willing to listen, these things are completely life changing. What they have to say holds wisdom. Moon in Pisces, moon in the 12th, it's like what you have to say is truly holding wisdom from different worlds, but people are not ready for it. But I encourage you to still say it. Like, I encourage you to still say it. But like I said, it's definitely difficult because you do not receive this information from this realm, from this plane. It comes from something that most people can't even perceive, you know? And so having the moon in this house, this can be insecurity as well, there can be this level of disappointment that comes through the family or through the home or through how you grew up, you know there's this level of disgust in a way with the mother and parent, not disgust to like, ugh, like you're disgusting, but like it's almost like if you would have catered to the emotional body of the child, of the moon in Pisces, it could have been different. I could have not neglected myself. I could have taken care of my health. I could have not involved myself in those behaviors. And there's not a blame. Moon in Pisces, moon in the 12th, it's not a blame. It's just a certain, I really care, and you see that people just don't. And the moon in the 12th house, there is this sense of like you have to get away to restore yourself. You have to get away to figure out how you truly feel about that something. And it's important for you to always think about how you feel in solidarity, like be by yourself, think about how you feel, meditate, but always try to be creative in any sense. If you have moon in the 12th house, create what you need to create a movie, entertain, find ways to be expressive, find ways to play different characters. Find a way to play different characters in their emotions so that you can truly embody how that feels. These things really change a moon in Pisces person, you know, acting, because they're able to morph into different emotions, and they almost do it just to see it, like just to see how it feels. It's a power of theirs, it's a gift. So that's all I have for moon in Pisces and moon in the 12th house. I hope that was helpful. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, please. If you haven't, if you're new to my channel and you haven't liked and comment or subscribed, please consider doing so. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, and if you can help me do that, I would love you forever. Thank you so much. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.